Welcome to the Spoilers of the Damned podcast. Spoilers of the Damned podcast. Hello and welcome to this episode 12 of the Spoilers of the Damned sidecast podcast thing we do on the side. Twin Peaks. Yeah. Season 3 has come and gone, but we're still here. Still talking Twin Peaks.
Yes.
And we're here today to bring you our coverage of the Twin Peaks UK Festival. I believe is the 7th one?
7th or 8th, something like that.
Yeah, I believe the lady Lindsay said it started in 2010, so yeah.
Yes,
something like that.
Yes.
Before we start, though, we do have some news, if you're not already aware. Very recently, it came out that Twin Peaks Season 3, the Blu-ray/DVD, if you're if you haven't joined the high definition revolution, you can buy the DVD, I guess.
If you're a
there's
peasant,
a lot
Noah.
of. Yeah, I was toying with the word pleb, but I wasn't going to use it.
Good. I bit the bullet. I was okay.
Well, yeah. Even if you're watching on DVD, at least you're not watching on DVD.
Why didn't that come? In that case, Jesus Christ.
So, the BBFC recently rated some additional material that will be part of the upcoming Season 3 release.
Okay.
So they've got a list of shorts. I guess they're kind of like perhaps they're either featurettes of some kind or they're actual narrative things. I'm not sure. It's not actually described exactly what, but they have been rated. All of them have been rated 15 and up, except for 2 of them, which are rated 12. That's based on our kind of rating system here in the UK.
Which is fucked.
But we have some very interesting names here. We have a bloody finger in your mouth, a pot of boiling oil. Do not pick up hitchhikers. See you on the other side, dear friend. Tell it, Martin. The man with the grey elevated hair, which sounds a bit like Mr. Lynch himself.
Yes.
2 blue balls. Bad binoculars, which is
with Jerry.
something. Yeah, Jerry mentioned in the series, and the number of completion, which is also something that was mentioned in the season as well. So it'd be very interesting to see what all of that is about and dig into that when it comes out. Apparently, I believe the release date, at least in this country, is supposed to be December 5th this year.
Nice.
And is expected to include 7 Blu-rays or 8 DVD discs.
Yeah. Nice.
That's massive.
What?
But when you think about it, there's those episodes were almost a full hour each, and there's 18 of them.
That's true.
We've been watching BSG, and I don't think they have as many episodes a season as 18, and they're also on something like 5-6 discs each. So, yeah, it kind of makes sense, especially with all the additional material.
That's true.
But massively looking forward to that.
Yes.
Not sure if I'm ready to sit down and do an 18-hour marathon rewatch yet.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm. Because that's the problem, is that while obviously I'll be getting it, obviously I'll be watching it again. I've watched the original series plenty of times.
Yeah.
But the problem is that there's obviously quite a few. There's a few episodes I didn't really like.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, you can't really skip them. So
I feel like in a binge scenario, they'll probably be more enjoyable, especially with a frame of context, because the whole time we were watching those original episodes, we were sitting there thinking, we want answers to this or answers to that, and we kind of know now where we're not going to get answers, unfortunately, for better or for worse, which will probably help, although it is still an hour of your life that you're binging. on something. Yeah, there are a couple in the middle that are a bit iffy, I think, in the season. But overall, it was good, and I'm glad it happened. And I shall be picking up the Blu-ray eventually at some point. Maybe Christmas present to myself.
Happy Christmas, me.
It has 7 Blu-ray discs.
Jesus Christ, 7 Blu-rays.
Let me just check, actually, be super professional and Google while I'm casting, as usual, when the final dossier is out, because I have that pre-ordered.
2nd of November.
Yes.
I've already got it out.
I've just had a look. So that's at the end of this month. Wow, it's closer than I thought.
Very close. And
interesting.
A whole month before the Blu-ray box set of the show as well.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting.
Yeah, and we'll get into the festival itself, but while we were there at the Sabrina Sutherland Q&A, she mentioned that Mark went away and kind of wrote his books after the initial writing period with David.
Yes.
But I'm imagining that even though additional stuff was written and what have you, there's still going to be some kind of dynamite stuff in this book that was left out of the other book because the other book preceded the show, the new season, so... I still get a feeling we're going to get some kind of like psych report about Audrey in there somewhere. Maybe, although I read something recently that said that apparently Audrey was not the lady who plays Audrey. What's her name again?
Sherilyn Fenn.
Yeah, she was not happy initially because supposedly she was supposed to take whose scene was it that she was supposed to take? I can't remember, but she was supposed to take someone else's scene in the show, but she demanded something better. I need to take a check because it's on the subreddit.
It would be Laura Dern's, some of Laura Dern's stuff, would it?
I'm not sure because it was apparently an Italian article that had been translated. So I was reading a kind of a broken translation. I'll have to check up on that, and if it is the case, I'll put it in the show notes below. I'm just not good enough to Google and cast at the same time to dig deep enough to find this article.
I'm capable of doing so.
Oh, well then please, by all means.
I am the master. Sharon Fenn. Let's see.
Google along podcasts.
Let's see. So yeah, it was on Reddit, did you say?
Yes, it was on Reddit recently, in the last couple of days. I believe it was an Italian interview for an Italian magazine that had been translated, something along those lines. But yeah, apparently she was supposed to supposedly take a scene that apparently is attributed to another character. I can't remember what scene it is, but it would have been more minor than the Audrey role she has in the season now. So,
well, she still wasn't happy with the stuff she had. I'll tell you that much. Oh yeah, I'll tell you that much.
Well, yeah, and I can kind of understand that because well, it's weird, isn't it? Because it's a weird position to be in because a couple of people have been really strange and upset about this new season. Of course, before it all started, we had the actor who played the man from another place. Famously or infamously going off the deep end. And then when the last episodes aired, I think Julie Cruz was pretty upset at one point because she thought that there was going to be more of her performance or something like that.
Oh, fuck Julie Cruz.
Yeah, well,
Seriously, she's a diva.
Yeah, and I definitely got that sense reading the tweets. And going back to the Sabrina Sutherland Q&A, that's another thing she mentioned, that apparently that's all kind of like hunky-dory now. But she did throw a bit of a wobbly at the time.
Yeah, it sounds about right. I mean, it's just like, just fucking calm down.
It's the problem, isn't it? Because there's 25 years of expectation, and you get the call from David, I want you back. And it's like, yeah, I want you to film a 3-minute sweeping scene. Okay. Thanks.
I would have done it, but like, sure thing, David, where do you need me? I need you in 5 hours. I'll be right down.
What's my motivation for this scene? You sweep. Great.
Cool, I'll do that. Thanks, David. I'd do that to get a chance to work with David.
Yeah. No, I'd be there yesterday to do that.
That'd be weird. So what did you do today? I was in a David Lynch project. Yeah, I was sweeping the floor for 3 minutes. Yep. And stuff. I got right into my role. It was great.
Yeah, and we're doing this all in the wrong order, but that
Fuck 'em.
Sabrina Sutherland Q&A, she said that the care and attention is to every single part, so that guy gets the same kind of treatment as the top bill. That's really cool. I like that.
Oh, definitely. I mean, that's one of the really cool things about David Lynch is he's such a in that terms he's just like really fucking cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, he just cares about the stuff he makes.
Mm.
That's that's I think that's that's the simplest way to put it is he just really cares about his work, like his art. He's very particular about it. Good.
And yeah, I stayed up super late on that Saturday night to see the documentary, the Art Life.
Oh,
so I'll get into that later. Yes, it was very good. I enjoyed it. I could have watched. It could have carried on because the thing is kind of like about his early years and about his kind of artistic side more than the film or the TV. Although that kind of plays into it a little bit. So there was this point where it just kind of reached Eraserhead, and they were talking about making Eraserhead, and then it just ended. The movie just ended, and I was like, "Oh, you guys could have just carried on. I wouldn't have minded." Apart from the fact that I had like a 2-hour trip to drive home, but
that's what don't show me.
I was like, "Oh, it's over." But it was very good. So, but we'll get into that, and let's stop skipping ahead. Let's
skip everywhere
about the Twin Peaks UK Festival.
Yes.
And I'm glad you suggested for me to come along because I had a really good time.
It was good. I'm glad you had a good time. I knew you would, but it's still one of those things it's good to get hear confirmation that you did actually like it.
Yeah. We'll be coming next year, and we're planning to VIP it as well.
Oh,
because
I would.
Well, yeah, but partially because I'd like to sit next to you this time.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
No, that's cool. It's like, oh, okay, I should have known the second I turned up and there were like 2 queues. And you're like, okay, bye-bye.
Yeah, that was... And then it still took fucking ages for us to get in. But that's just how it always is.
Yeah, I imagine. It's kind of... It looks like it's definitely grown over time. So it seems like... it was very well organised, but there were a lot of people.
There was a hell of a lot of people.
Yeah.
Stuff ran a lot better time-wise on the second day as well, which is quite good. But yeah, so just to basically just for people listening, I bought a VIP ticket fucking months ago and forgot about it. I was like, oh yeah, it is VIP, cool.
Nice.
Tom and I was there for both days. Tom was only able to do the Saturday. There were 2 separate lines, one for VIP. Well, there's actually 3 initially. There was one for Blue Diamond, which was like the super VIP, which I couldn't be fucked with. Then there was one for VIP, and there was one for the regular tickets. And then in the screening room in the hall, because it was it's in like a city hall in Hornsey, and
it's a very interesting building.
Yeah, it's fallen apart, but
yeah, it's a bit dilapidated. I was going to say that, but that kind of gave it a weird vibe, kind of like a nice vibe. And the fact that it was kind of like an old-fashioned building, I don't know, I wouldn't hazard a guess, but some of the kind of like the fittings and the stairs and everything made me think of like almost kind of the White Lodge building that we saw in season 3, kind of like this like 1920s aesthetic kind of thing.
It feels like it doesn't belong in this period anymore, does it? But so and then in the screen room there were the regular seats, then there were the VIP seats, and then the Blue Diamond seats. So that's why we didn't sit next to each other, because my name was on the chair, which was great.
Yeah.
Funny story. Someone sat in my seat later on, and because he was a dick about it, I just told him to move. So,
good for you. Your name's on the fucking chair, man.
I was like, I think you're sitting in my seat, and all he did was he like very rudely held up his wristband, and went VIP. It's like, yeah, so am I, and my name was on that seat, so go, because I want to sit there because that's my seat. And he was like, well, I was like, I'm not sitting in someone else's seat.
No.
He was like, oh, I guess we'll go and find you. I was like, maybe you should.
Yeah, I mean, like, far be it from you to painfully explain why a name would be on a chair.
And he was like, oh, it wasn't here. I was like, it moved to the seat in front of you. How strange is that? On top of another one. It didn't just fucking move there on its own.
Is it future? Is it past? Is it someone else's chair, maybe?
Yeah, and because if he had just like gone, oh, sorry, but that's fine. But it's that he's just very, very rude about it, and then immediately just thought, I'm going to be a dick.
Oh, that's disappointing.
I'm gonna outdick you. Now fucking move. He was rude to a lot of people over the weekend, to be fair. So fuck him.
Oh man, you know what?
Yeah,
That's why he doesn't sit in his own chair, because then people would know his fucking name.
Oh, it's you. Fuck off. But yeah, besides that one thing, yeah, it was cool. But yeah, so we didn't manage to sit near each other, but Tom did gradually make his way further and further down.
I did,
like,
as events changed. I went out to grab a donut and went and do some shopping, and when I came back, I kind of had moved up several rows behind Man without telling him.
Every time I look around, I was like, "Oh, fuck, it's like Slender Man." Every time I turn around, he's gonna get closer.
Yeah.
Also, for if the people listening that obviously didn't go, don't know about it, there are donuts everywhere, and
yes,
these ones were.
They were good donuts. I literally only had one because I was being a very good boy, but it was the one you got me, which was white icing, green icing, cool Twin Peaks pattern on the side, and apple inside. It was
It's apple inside, because I didn't actually.
Yeah, it was apple inside.
Damn it! I can't remember the name of the shop that made the donuts. They're really.
Yeah,
good.
I saw the name, but I can't remember it either.
I got Mr. Pringle. It's not Mr. Pringle. Mr. Pringle Donuts. No, it's not right.
We'll find out. We'll find out.
Wait, no way. Pringles is actually a. No, that's fuck you, Wikipedia. You lied to me. That's donuts. It lied to me. But yeah, it was a. I feel terrible now. I can't remember the name, but they came from a specific place and they were just so fucking good. There was so many.
Can you imagine if they sold donuts like in a tube, like Pringles?
Oh my god, I'd be heavy.
Yeah.
I ate so many donuts over the weekend.
There were a lot of donuts around. I was impressed.
Yeah, but the thing is, you know what? It was on the second day when the moment I stopped feeling guilty, like, you know, because I tried to eat well, you know, on that shit during the week, but the weekend I let my hair down a bit too much. And I
believe it's like physically impossible to eat too many donuts, so I think you're fine.
I think so. But I was sat there, and I was looking at it, and I thought, you know what? I've paid a lot of money for this VIP ticket. I'm gonna eat as many donuts as I fucking want because they're free. So I ate like 6 on the second day.
I don't blame you. There was abundance of donuts, and once you're paid to get in, basically, yeah, you could eat for free.
It's like, oh, you could go to the cafe and get like some like nachos. I was like, fuck that, I'll go and get some donuts.
Yeah.
Oh no,
you as a VIP, didn't you? Well, no. Did everyone have access to free coffee, or was it just a case that the VIPs also had their own separate place for coffee and donuts?
VIPs, we had to go to the same cafe. We'd show them our wristband, and we could have up to 4 small David Lynch coffees a day, which is fun because the David Lynch coffee is really good, and it is legit. It is his coffee as well. It's got his name on it. He's all, you know,
nice,
fully licensed, I guess is the right way to put it. But
I will say, for the record, again, I wished that I liked coffee. I really do. It's just not for me. Like, it would have to be 99% sugar and cream and 1% coffee, and maybe just. But even then, I think it's kind of like a Princess Pea situation. I'd be able to kind of just tell.
Yeah, I love it. So I was in heaven. I was like, I'm going to have another coffee.
Fair enough.
And I'm going to have another coffee.
I tell you, someone who definitely looked like they were on coffee. I just want to say well done to the lady who runs it. Is her name Lindsay? I think it is.
Lindsay, yes.
She was saying that she had 1 hour sleep before the Saturday, and you wouldn't know it. She was running all over the place. Like a couple of times when I sat down to have my lunch, I was just kind of like, you know, being a good boy, having my little packed lunch, sat down by myself. I just saw her like come up some stairs, go down some other stairs, get called over by a person, go over to another person, say, "Oh hi, I'm looking for you," like, and walk. And she was just all over the place. So
yeah, she was.
Kudos.
She didn't stop at all.
Yeah,
she's a trooper.
Yeah, she is. And a couple of other things I wanted to touch on before we get onto the kind of the schedule of the thing. Just, you know, a couple of little bits. They had a glass box, which was awesome. We both took pictures in that, and through the magic of YouTube, if you're watching on YouTube, you should see some pictures of that at this point now flashing up. So, oh
my god, it's magic!
That's what we look like. Yeah. Yeah,
Very
please don't comment how much we look like we've eaten too many donuts. That would be bad. Thank you very much. There was a gallery upstairs. I didn't even know there was a gallery upstairs until you told me at something like 7 o'clock in the evening.
It's like, there's a thing up there, right?
Yeah, so it's like, oh, okay, let's go up, because I thought it was the VIP only zone.
No.
But and also up there was a tattooist doing some tattoos for people.
Yeah, unfortunately, I wasn't able to get a booking the next day, which was a bit not annoyed, but just like, oh,
it's unfortunate. I mean, I think probably more people would have said they were going for it if they knew that they couldn't do it on the Sunday.
Yeah, and also there was like, because obviously it was 2 days, and obviously we'll get to the fact that the actors and the cast and crew that were there. The VIPs and Blue Diamond signings were on the Saturday, the first day, and it took about, I think I was up there for like 4 hours.
You were up there a long time, yeah.
And because of that, then there was other stuff going on as well. That obviously we'll get to. I didn't really want to miss any of it, so I didn't really get a chance to to go in. I like was able to poke my head in like once and have a look at the designs, and I was like, oh shit, there's something going on. I need to run off.
It's a shame, isn't it? Because there's a lot to do, which is great.
Yeah.
But if you want to do the things like, say, the signings, then you do have to dedicate yourself to a significant chunk of time to do all that. Yeah. Well, I managed to do pretty much everything but the signings, more or less. I stayed and sat and watched all of the unique and interesting things that were going on.
Yes.
But we'll get into those. So yeah, the glass box was great. The tattooist that was there. They had a kind of mini Black Lodge setup that you and I went and took a little look in.
That was cool.
Very interesting place. There was kind of like evolution of the arm in there with flashing light, which was
that was cool.
Yeah, and there was a set of 3 coffee cups on the side with these kind of like I guess they're like circuits. And when you put a spoon into the coffee, or when you even put your finger into the drink, it kind of like connected the circuit and completed it, so it would play like a sound effect.
That was really neat. I liked that. That was just the first time. I was like, that's really cool. I want it. Oh, I better go. Oh shit, something's going on. You run off.
Yes, I wish to also put my finger in some lukewarm coffee that everyone else has put their fingers in.
Virus.
But it was really nifty. When you put it in, it played a sound effect from the show. So there was kind of like a person there putting his finger in and out, like making this kind of oh noise.
It was like remix, coffee remix. Like, get out, go on, fuck off. It's not ruining everyone's fun.
That was the guy who was dressed as. Was he dressed as Dale? Or I can't remember now. He was in an FBI suit, definitely.
There's lots of Dales. Lots of Dales.
And we'll get onto the costumes, but there was really good Sam in there as well.
Yeah, we it wasn't until much later in the day. Actually, it was just towards the end of me being there that we spotted the guy dressed as Sam. I was like, yay, he's giving Kiefer Sutherland a bit of love. Don't give it to Sam.
There were some great costumes, but yeah, I've got that kind of further down the list because I believe they had some real technical issues when they were trying to sort out the stuff for James Marshall's gig. Yeah. So they kind of held the costume pageant in a corridor off the side, which was very people heavy, but at least they managed to get it in, squeeze it in rather than not be able to do it. So
yeah, that's true. It was nice that someone thought, oh yes, there's no space. I'm going to crush this person up against the wall. I was like, thank you for that. Would you like to stand on my foot while you're at it? Oh, you just did. Thank you very much.
I will say though, props to the Double R Club. Your is it your uncle, I believe?
Yes, my uncle and she's my aunt really. Basically, and they've been married a few years now, but I've known her most of my life. So
yeah, they're brilliant. By the way, please do pass on my huge thanks to them for all of the stuff they put on. They were definitely if Lindsay was running around doing everything, they were literally running around doing everything else.
Yeah,
they're troopers completely. And we'll get on to their act, because their act was probably one of my favourite things of the entire festival. So
It's fucking cool, isn't it?
yes, it was. It was great.
It's really fucking cool.
Okay, so I think that's covered pretty much everything I wanted to talk about beforehand. So the main sort of like events in the main room started off with just kind of a welcome and some clips from the cast, which were fun.
Oh yeah, one of them particularly was fucking awesome.
Chad was eating lots of dinners in front of somebody else's, Lucy's fire.
that was awesome. I think he got like because what was it? We had oh god, we had one of the new deputies from the new show. We had I believe the actress that plays forgotten now. I think she played oh my god, she's in the new series as well, I believe. Was it Donna's sister? I can't remember. But then we had
yes.
her.
It was yes, I believe it was Donna's sister. It was the woman who what's her name? Shelley's daughter was married to the guy who was cheating on her with Donna's sister. Who was that?
Druggy McFuckstick. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, so there was her. Then it was Ian Buchanan, which was really cool. Who made the joke that he found Chris Melky.
That was kind of like a festival in joke, yeah.
Yeah, a lot. He obviously he plays Hank Jennings, Chris, and he's quite a character. He's very excitable. He's a bit mad, but in a really lovable way. And they lost him for a couple of hours, and they couldn't find him. And it's like, where's Chris? Where's Chris? He was really drunk. It was really funny. He had a great time. But yeah, that was the joke. That was the reference to last year. So in Buchanan, he got a big ovation, but the one that got the biggest was Chad.
Yes,
and he got booze as well, which was great. Which I think he'd love. He got booze.
I think I'm going to be going every year, at least until they book the guy who plays Chad, so I can meet him. He's my hero.
Yeah, people like really cheered when he came on camera, and then remembered, wait, Chad was a dick, and just started booing. But it was great. He'd set up basically like a smartphone on a tripod. It looked like.
Yeah.
And he would just like sat down this chair with a table full of donuts and beer. I think he had Rolling Rock.
Yep.
Just like stuff in his face, basically in character as Chad.
Yes.
And then Kimmy Robertson walks in, asking how he got into her house, how he started the fire, and it was funny. That was the one that I think they put the most out of all of them. That was the one that had the most thought and effort put into it. That was really cool.
It's one of those things. I wish that, I don't know, maybe they do, but it would be really nice if the Twin Peaks UK Festival has some kind of social media or YouTube channel or something like that. They could put them up, because that would be really nice to be able to see them again. And also, while I'm at it, we'll move on to the next section, the short films inspired by Twin Peaks. It would be really nice if they had a list of the ones they showed somewhere, and if it's at all possible, where to see them again.
Yeah, if they could put up the good ones.
Well, yeah, let's put it this way. Basically, ever since I watched Scotch Broth, I have been trying to find Scotch Broth, and I can't find it. So please, if you're listening, someone who works with the staff or knows where you can watch Scotch Broth, please provide me with a link, because
it was so good.
It was great. And it grew on me as well, because when it first started, I wasn't quite sure what to make of it.
No, neither did I. It's like, this weird. But
basically, because it had been preceded by maybe one or two short films before that, and in general, no offense to the short films, but there was kind of a slight air of
trying too hard.
Yeah, pretentiousness and kind of like arty-fartiness, and
when we were sat there, I had to resist the urge. I was going to text you. And just say, I keep expecting Barney's short film to come on from The Simpsons. You know that episode of The Simpsons where they have all the short films from Springfield, and there's that really there's that parody that they do with Barney when he makes that really arty film, and it's all in black and white. Yeah, and I was just sat there thinking, and there was one of them in black and white as well.
There
I'm like,
was.
oh fuck me, this is I just where's the music? Come on, give me the music, come on. Yeah, there's a couple of them were good. The best one was Scotch Broth because it was just so weird. What was it? It started off, didn't it, with text that did it say it was all based off of a journal they found in a pub.
Yeah.
Outside a pub in Scotland.
Yeah.
And it's obviously just the writings of a madman.
Yeah.
And they must have just gone, this is fucking mental. God, we've got to make something out of this.
Yeah, the whole thing was ridiculously kind of like absurdly surreal. And I really liked it because of the strong Scottish accent and because there was slang in there that at the time I didn't even know. The whole time I'm just like, what the fuck is this? There's a part where he says like, oh, how do you make those stovies? And I thought he was saying stories. Like, how do you make stories? First. And he's like, oh, you know, you make delicious stories. And I was like, what the fuck am I watching?
So when the guy's like, he goes up to the ice cream and she's like, hello, how's it going? And he's like, give me a gun, you fat cow.
Yeah, and she's like, you say the nicest things.
You sweet talk. And I'm like, what? I don't know what accent it was, probably. But I was just sitting there going, this is fucking great. This is mental. I love it.
It definitely grew on me as it went along. And the ending was just kind of like this mentalness, sort of like out-of-body experience thing.
Yeah, and it was good because it wasn't pretentious at all. It was just like, that was mental. I loved it. Really artistic, and I love the style of animation, which was all hand drawn, but
very scribbly, and sometimes, obviously, you know, well, we both know coming from sort of like digital media backgrounds that it's a lot easier to animate things in a way so that you don't have to draw more drawings. So yes. For large parts of it, there were the same kind of poses with just different mouths, which was fine. But then occasionally it would cut to a different drawing of the same guy in the same place where you wouldn't need one.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of the work of David Firth, who has a website called fatpie.com. I would, if anyone hasn't heard of him before and is then curious, when you type in fatpie.com, it's fat dash pie.
Yeah, I've got it.
Don't type in fat pie, because a few years ago I typed that in and it went to a specific porn site. So I was like, okay, this isn't full of funny animation. What is this?
Yes, you said this to me on the day, didn't you? Because you mentioned salad fingers, which I have seen.
It reminds me of the animation. Not so much salad fingers. There's one in particular called where is it called? A black and white cartoon about roof tiling.
Okay.
So if you watch that, after the after we record,
just under animation.
It was because what they did in Scotch Broth as well was it was obviously all sketched, very sketchy as well, rough lines, and obviously what they'd done is they'd drawn all these things and then they just scanned them into a PC and then animated them that way. Yeah. And black and white cartoon about roof tiling is very similar, and that is, oh my god, that's 12 years old. Shit, that's over 12 years old. Jesus Christ, that's scary. Yeah, it was very similar.
Okay, I found it. Yes, I'll watch that after the cast.
Oh, please do. It's brilliant. And it's very, very dark. Scotch Broth was great. There was like a couple. I was like, that's quite cool. There's one in particular that really pissed me off.
Is it the same one that I got most annoyed at? I'm wondering. Carry on.
I think it might be. It started off very promising and very unsettling. It starts off. It was. I mean, I have a feeling that the small little indie team or studio, whatever they are, I think they might be fans of Lost.
Oh yes, okay, yeah, I'm with you. This is not the one I was thinking of.
Oh, but this one, they were called. Was it literally they called themselves Dharma?
Yes, someone used the actual logo, I think.
And then to make to go even further, they had the sound of the smoke monster. I'm like, okay, I like forgave him for the use of the symbol. I'm like, that's not. That's fine, but it's like, hey, we really like Lost. Like, yeah, okay, that's cool. We really like Lost. Here's a smoke monster. Why would you remind me of that? Why would you remind me of this disappointment? And the short starts off really, really, really well. There's like a man dozing off on his. He's like in his living room, he's dozing off watching TV, and looked like a cockroach, I think it was, or some kind of large insect, crawls inside his head, in his ear, and it starts to talk to him. And it's really unnerving and unsettling. It gives him like painful headaches. He tries to, in a funnier moment, he gets a cotton bud and he's like, this will be a good idea. And it just tells him, don't do that, fuck off.
And he starts bleeding from the ear.
Yeah, and then he walks around like for a little bit more of the short with the and it's still stuck in his ear. I'm like, this is really creepy. This is really surreal. And the music was dark, and it says like, there's something in the lounge. There's something for you. You're like, fuck me, this is weird. And it's like a little box with a viewfinder in it. He looks in, he has to turn a nozzle, and then there's lots of little cute children doing like circus things. And to begin with, it's like very dark, and you go, oh, I can see what this is inspired by, David. And it's just very weird. And then suddenly it turns into a Steven Spielberg movie.
Yeah. But you texted me that this is a Steven Spielberg movie, and that's the perfect way to describe it. It's
got like the lens flare. It's all like, it gets all like schmaltzy and what is the word I am looking for? Not high fantasy, but very Spielbergian in the sense that it's all like, oh, wonder and magic.
Yeah.
I'm like, I preferred this when it was creepy. I liked it when it was creepy. Why would you?
Yeah, it did have a promising start.
It really did, and then it fell apart, and I hated it.
I wonder when it was made as well, because it seemed to really clearly be influenced by the last season in particular, because the high-pitched voice talking to them inside their head, and the fact that it was a bug, and it kind of went into someone. I was thinking, oh, okay, they put this together like really quick after the season, but then when you see all the costumes and everything else, maybe then it wasn't that. I don't know.
Maybe they already had all that stuff that's Spielbergian schmaltz, and then they were like, wait, let's get some shit.
If we frame it this way, then Twin Peaks festivals will play it.
Yeah, it was full of tonal whiplash.
Yeah. I will say though, the short films in general was a really interesting section. I like it, and I'd be happy to watch it next year. But the whole time I was sat there, and this is going to be famous last words, I was thinking, oh man, I need to make something so that we can watch that, because that would be better. So
I wouldn't be in the room. I remember when again, like, because people listen to this won't know, when we were at university, because me and Tom were both in the same course, but I dropped out and started again with drama and multimedia instead, because I wanted to do something else.
Yeah. So
everyone else I met was in a year above me. So in my second year of drama and multimedia, so technically my third year, Tom and everyone else had a final year project, and Tom went to make a film, and wanted me to be in it. I was like, yeah, cool. And I remember I had a lot of fun making it, because it was a lot of fun, because I was like, cool, I'm in a little short film. Yeah, this is fucking great. And ended up going on to be in a few other things that people were doing for funny projects as well. And I was like, yeah, this makes me feel worthwhile.
It was a great time, a heady time.
It was really cool. But so year 4 technically comes around, and it's my year's time to make a final year project. So we're sat in this lecture theatre, and they go, okay, we're going to show you some. So it's funny project, blah blah blah. Think about what you want to do. We're going to show you some funny projects from last year. And I sit there and I go, oh no, no, they won't. So they show one. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Show another one. Okay, show one. And because I was there, because we used to work in the same area when we were doing coursework, and so I saw the beginning of the short film, like the team logo.
Yeah.
Starts up. I immediately, less than a second, I recognise it. And I go, oh fuck! And I just start to, and I see myself on camera. I'm just like, and I start to slink down. People start to look at that, and then they look back at me again, and they go, wait. I can see people I'd never spoken to just kind of looking at me. Like, hi guys, what's going on? No, it's just, and afterwards, like, was that you? Maybe. And just to put it in perspective, it's not because I loved making it. I thought it was a really cool little short.
Yeah, it would have been even cooler if I hadn't had that one team member. But it's, we won't go into that. But suffice to say, the first draft of the script was more interesting to me.
That last that fucking first draft was dark as shit.
Yeah.
I loved it. I'd have been cool with that, but maybe you can't have demons.
It was like demons and shit and Silent Hill and woo. And what's really interesting is I introduced you to some things then. Well, it was stuff you were already aware of, but I made you watch in preparation for that short, which incidentally was called Shatter.
Shatter, yes.
I made you watch Jacob's Ladder and stuff. And then what's really interesting is that you were doing your final year project the following year with my brother, and yours was very Twin Peaks influenced. So in return, I actually ended up watching Twin Peaks because of you doing that project with my brother. So that's what's great about university is it's just massive cultural exchange where, you know, you kind of like you meet people who are into the same shit as you, but have also watched loads of other shit you don't know about. Yeah. So you can just like add it all to one big list and get round to it.
Man, that final project we did, we had so many cool ideas and we were far too ambitious for two people. It was really cool. It was like it was going to be a point-and-click adventure game with FMV cutscenes.
Which has had a big resurgence recently.
I fucking like when the new Tex Murphy game came out. I was just like, "Fuck!" And they all because the whole idea was because I'd never played any of the Tex Murphy games before. I grew up on the really bad ones, really fucking shitty FMV games. Because the Tex Murphy ones are fucking awesome. Because they're actually good point-and-click adventure games that happen to have FMV cutscenes and characters, not the other way around. So it's not really gimmicky. And our idea was it'd be like a 3D world. You could walk around, collect clues, and explore in that. And I legitimately had never played a Tex Murphy game. I had never heard of it before. And then the Tesla effect, which I still need to finish actually, because I got right near the end, and there was a really annoying puzzle. It's just fucking
par for the course with that genre, I'm afraid. But yeah,
it's so annoying. You can't reset it. And it's all these button combinations. It's annoying. But and so that comes out. And it's like, oh, cool. People are like, oh, it's a really cool FMV, adventure game. I was like, cool, I'll play it. And lo and behold, it's the 3D environment, and it was basically just exactly what we envisaged. And I was just like, this is cool. Oh wait.
Do you know what we need to do? We need to write a fucking point-and-click adventure game because I've got some ideas actually. Me and my brother have had an idea for a while now for a point-and-click style game, and it could be tweaked and twerked to, at the moment it's very kind of like in the style of Phoenix Wright, kind of like anime happy upbeat kind of thing. But it could be tweaked and could be darker and more interesting. It's an idea I've had for ages, and I won't say it on the podcast, just in case we do get to make it into something someday.
Yeah, I'm always happy to help with that as well because I love making shit.
Well, and getting back round to what we were actually fucking talking about.
Yes,
we might be able to get something together for next year. That would be cool.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah, but regardless, either way, it will be a good time to sit down and watch those shorts because despite some of the pretentiousness, I did enjoy it and it did inspire me a lot. So that was good.
No, I could do something better than this shit now.
Yeah.
What was the out of curiosity? What was the one that really annoyed you?
The one that annoyed me was the guy in the chair. The one where he was just kind of giving like a monologue to David Lynch. And he was speaking the lyrics to Sycamore Trees from season 2. So it's a track from the series, but he was speaking it as as a poem as opposed to the actual song. Was there not any original stuff in there?
I don't believe so.
Because I could have sworn he was kind of like saying, you were my inspiration and stuff.
Or perhaps, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know for sure, but it just kind of went on and on and on to me. That's all. So I was just kind of like, long. Yeah, and it's just a guy in a chair. I mean, they did have some cool kind of cutaways and stuff, but
well, when
the set was really good.
Made a short and it feels too long, you've done something wrong.
Yeah, exactly. You never want to overstay your welcome. You want to be punchy and gone. With Scotch Broth, it was kind of like, whoa, that was amazing. Whoa, it's over.
Yeah, it was like, I don't want this to end. This is great.
Yeah. So yeah, well, maybe we can. If that's the only way to watch it is to go to the Twin Peaks Festival, then I will go next year and watch it because I want to watch it again.
What a shame!
I'll bootleg that shit, like the guy at the prom queen concert who we'll get onto later. Yeah, I'll bootleg that shit in 3D.
I hear that guy.
So after the short Twin Peaks inspired films, there was a Q&A with Sabrina Sutherland, the producer for season 3 and season 2, I believe, as well.
Yeah, I think she's worked with David since season 2, like on everything.
Yeah.
She works right with him all the time, which is really cool.
Yeah.
She came along, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah. Pretty much the only problem I had with the Q&A is that they needed to talk into the microphones. Like for the first half of the Q&A, both of them had their microphones down by their hips, and I was like, oh, I can't really hear this in the back, because I was right on the back row, because I'm not sure why. I thought maybe I'll be, able to duck away to the shop while everybody else is kind of getting out of their seats, which I did, and that worked okay. But I thought it was a cool Q&A. There was a couple of things I didn't know that she mentioned, like I think the main thing was the story she told about the log lady and how they shot her scenes. Yeah,
that was. I mean, do you want to tell it?
Well, yeah. I mean, I may as well. But basically, they knew that they were going to be filming something, and so they had kind of the actors on standby, and the lady's name is Catherine. Is it Catherine? Coulson, that's it.
Catherine Coulson.
Yeah, I'm such a shit fan, by the way. I remember everyone's character names. I'm really shit with the actor names. Which really works for James Marshall, because he's James either way. So
James. You're locked out, James.
Yeah. Obviously she was not well, and they knew this, and Sabrina was saying that potentially she thought she might have to have some kind of medical plane to bring her over to do her shooting, because she might need oxygen on standby. And they were sort of getting these communications, and then she was talking to someone who was caring for Catherine, or one of her family, who said she will not be able to make this trip. She's not getting on a plane. I don't know what she told you, but she's not going to be able to. So in the end, what they decided to do was to send a crew with the equipment to her house, basically, to film with her, and they would give instructions over Skype, which it's I'm thankful that they did it. It's it's kind of like a strange idea, but I guess in this day and age you can direct, so long as you're kind of like on one end of a phone line or an internet connection. Yeah, and then she said, unfortunately, that was literally days before she passed away, maybe 3 or 4 days before she passed away. So
yeah, I mean, it's not even being schmaltzy. I mean, that just makes it sound like she was literally just holding on just to do that.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? I don't think it is, to be honest. It was really important to her role, and she, she's been to the Twin Peaks UK Festival a number of times, hasn't she, in the past?
Yeah,
so
I actually managed to meet her one year. She was really nice. She was really nice.
She sounded like a really nice person.
She came in, which is something I want to get to, actually, the screenings of the episodes. But the first one I ever went to is when I met her, and they were screening one of the episodes, and she just came in, sat down, started watching it, and then was talking to fans about it.
That's so cool.
She's like, still holds up, doesn't it? And you're like, what the fuck? That's Catherine Coulson. What are you doing there?
Hello.
What are you doing here? You. You surprised me, but yeah, she was really cool. It meant a lot to her, I think. It's definitely, definitely meant a lot to her.
Yeah. So, that's pretty much all I had to say about the Q&A. Unless you had anything.
No, I thought it was.
I thought it was good. It was great. Just speaking to your microphones and everything's great. There was one guy who was like, like that kid in class who's like, when they've got their hand up and they're like literally trying to reach the ceiling, and like they're literally just like kind of on the very edge of their chair. Bless him, and he didn't get his question asked at all. So I felt kind of bad, but
I don't.
This guy wanted it, but then he was sat at the back. So if you want to get your question answered at these things, you got to go closer to the front.
Yeah, you're going to be like, hey, you right at the back.
Yeah, hey there, the blue speck at the back. Yeah, except...
What? You wanted to what? What?
Amazing. And then what followed was the Double R Club, which I thought was fantastic. It was massive kind of like variety act with different kind of like people coming on and doing things. It was really interesting. So the performer, who is your uncle, his stage name is Benjamin Louche.
Benjamin Louche, so fucking swell.
Yeah, I've seen pictures and stuff of him on Facebook.
It's great.
But it was great to finally kind of see him in person, delivering his kind of thing, doing his thing. He started out by doing like a cover of the Nine Inch Nails song from the season on a megaphone, which was cool and eerie.
It's a good song.
He was kind of doing this awesome dance across the stage as he was doing it.
Yeah, it's the strobe lighting makes it look really surreal. It looks like he's like moving at a lesser frame rate.
Yeah.
It's a really cool effect.
It is.
Really cool.
The whole thing about the Double R Club, and I mean, they do this kind of like slightly more regularly in London, is it?
It's every month, I believe. Yes.
Okay, so about 12 times a year. So, wow.
Oh, well, they have an off season in the summer.
Okay, yeah. To be fair,
but they do other
everyone's out
shows
doing
as well.
stuff in the summer. No, that's really cool because they brought a huge amount of professionalism and theatre and kind of just they had gravity. I really liked it. His stand-up is amazing. All of his jokes were a huge hit and very funny. What else? So yeah, there was the guy on the theremin. I can't remember his name, but hopefully you still remember it.
On the what, sir?
On the theremin, the wavy instrument where he puts his hand in the air.
Lawrence Owen.
Yeah,
Lawrence
he
Owen,
was
very,
great.
Very good.
He
He's
came out
really
as
good.
kind of Coop, not Dougie, as we must remember from Benjamin's spiel. But he came on doing a Coop as Dougie, which was very funny. And I don't know if the heckle was planned or not, but he rolled with it really well.
He really rolled. No, but it wasn't planned. I spoke to them anyway,
okay.
because I stayed with Ben. I call them by their stage names. It's easier. Ben and Rose stayed with them in London because it was just it made more sense.
Yeah.
Because it was a 2-day event, and they were saying because obviously the equipment fucking up was not scripted.
Mm-hmm.
But he kind of rolled with it, and then when someone, I can't remember what was, they heckled out, and he just really quickly just came back and just repeated it like Brain Dead Coop. It was brilliant.
Yeah, it was perfect.
Really cool. It's like, that's how you fucking do it.
Yeah. And he did a cover of Just You and I, which was hilarious. I'm probably going to edit in a clip of it now.
Please do.
Bam! There's the clip. It's just
better than the original.
There's something about theremins that just are inherently funny because of the way they warble notes. So it sounds like someone who's kind of like, like warbling the note, like the way they wiggle their hands to make it kind of like, vary.
Yeah,
so
it sounds like. It sounds like that episode of South Park way back in the day. I think it was might have been season 4 or 5 when they Cher just released like a new track, and they were just taking the piss out. And it's like, have you heard the new Cher track? And it was just one of them going, oh,
yeah.
That's what it sounds like.
Exactly.
It's great. That's a funny episode.
But it was cool because he did that and got a laugh, but he also did some moodier pieces, and he did the full gamut of kind of tone, which was really nice.
Yeah, he did Laura Palmer's theme, didn't he?
Yeah. So I like the fact that pretty much every...
No, that was later on. That was someone else.
Oh, okay. But pretty much every act was, something different and fresh and fun, and that's what I liked about it the most.
That's what they do. They're very good at that.
Yeah. And then, if my memory serves correctly, the next act was the Log Lady. Is that correct?
Yeah. I've seen her... I've not seen... Oh, no, I haven't seen that Log Lady act before, I don't think.
He said it was a new one, didn't he? But they'd done ones in the past, and Catherine Coulson had remarked on them favourably.
Yeah, she said, you have amazing breasts.
Yes, and that pretty much gives away what it entailed. It was a striptease with someone dressed up as the Log Lady. I Yes, I have confused feelings now about the log lady, which I think I said to you on the day. I won't be able to see her quite in the same way again, but
Yes, I can't look at her again.
I think it's all the more fun that she kind of gave it her blessing in that way.
Yeah, she was really entertained. The one of the years I went, they had a log lady one. Apparently, someone complained like, the log lady would never do that. And it's like, fuck you. Catherine Coulson liked it.
She's literally watching it right now.
Yeah, it's like, fuck you, man. She liked it.
Yeah.
It's a fucking... It has to be super serial.
Yeah, that's what I liked about this festival, is that there was obviously Twin Peaks is at times a very dark and depressing show, and but it's also a very zany and quirky show. So I like the fact that you get a lot of different stuff at the festival, and it kind of it moves through all of those kind of tones.
Exactly, it works. It fits and it works because that's the thing. Like a lot of people go, oh, Twin Peaks is weird and it's got some really dark elements. It's like a lot of people that obviously aren't as familiar with the show, that only like have watched a few episodes or have heard of hearsay, don't realise it's really funny.
Yeah.
Twin Peaks is really funny.
It is.
There's a lot of comedy in it.
I mean, we've talked before about how it's a massive influence on a lot of the things that we like as well.
Yeah.
So, and that's the quirky humour. I mean, shining through in things like Silent Hill 1's joke ending and
Deadly Premonition.
Yeah, Deadly Premonition is the poster boy example, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Deadly Premonition is basically an unlicensed Twin Peaks game.
Yeah,
basically. I mean, sure, the ending's different and whatnot, but when you look at the original trailer for it, I can't remember what it was called originally.
Red Seed's Profile.
No, it was called something else.
Okay, I know in America or Japan or something, it was called Red Seed's Profile.
Yeah, that's in Japan, but no, this is like in its earlier stages.
Okay, cool. I didn't know that.
It was called, what was it? It was called something. It was called something else. Rainy Woods. It was called Rainy Woods.
Which is decidedly less impactful.
Yeah. And in the original trailer, it was just like, the two twins in Deadly Premonition. Yeah. They were two midgets in a red room with red curtains and leather seats. The sheriff looked shockingly more like Sheriff Truman. York looked completely different. In fact, he was called something completely different as well. He looked different. He was called something else. So yeah, I think they were like, you know what, this is a bit too much.
That is astounding then, because they toned all that back, and yet still it comes through in spades that's what it is, basically.
Yeah, I think it's. I remember there's one moment in the game where they make a massive hint, because there's a woman, she's like reading a book, and she explains what she's reading. It's like, that's the plot to Twin Peaks.
Oh man, I need to finish that game. I played it once ages ago.
It's one of my favourites.
Yeah, I got caught up in all the side quest shit that I didn't actually play much of the main story. So,
I mean, it's one of those. It's interesting when you look at the review scores and just like it's all, you look at the game and it's like, it looks like a piece of shit, and then you look at all these review scores. Like 1UP gave it a B, Destructoid gave it a 10.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was Jim Sterling while he was still at Destructoid.
It's like, this is mental. I love it. Fucking Edge magazine gave it a 7. Edge like hate everything.
Yeah, and Edge is supposed to be like up its own arse, smelling the farts of things that are really pretentious. So I mean, some arty, weird, obscure game that's basically Twin Peaks, they should be like all over it.
Yeah, they should hate it, and they were just like 7 out of 10 is good. And then you got fucking IGN USA were like, it's one of the worst games I've ever played. It's terrible. And then you had IGN UK. This is when you still had US and UK versions. And IGN UK were like, 7.5 out of 10. It's fucking great. And you're like, wait, what the hell?
We are going to have to make it the podcast subject at some point for the main cast, definitely.
It's so good. But yeah, without, the quirkiness of Twin Peaks and that there's a lot that wouldn't exist. This is a lot. It's like when you track like stuff like Walking Dead, you track it back to George Romero. Like for that shit would not exist. Like, zombies as we know them probably wouldn't be a thing.
Yeah,
very. They would.
I think that's fair to say. Well, at the very least, they might be radically different.
Yeah, they might. They might have come up with like a similar idea at some point, but a lot of.
I feel like it would have towed the line with the more kind of like the voodoo-ish kind of side of things. Yeah,
it would have been. It would have been more like, like Frankenstein's monster. Your arms like stretched going voodoo. Would be scary.
Basically, the science done goofed.
Yeah, I've seen some of those old zombie films with like pre George Romero zombie films, and they're quite funny because it's just
I
like
haven't watched any. That would be really interesting to do.
I am a zombie. I carry women around for some reason. I don't know what my purpose is.
It's kind of like the bad guys carry the woman around. Tarzan carries the woman around. It's just Welcome to the 1940s. Put the women down.
Put them down. Put them down. Bad Tarzan. No bananas.
No, don't put them in the bag. No.
No, god damn it.
No plastic.
Now she's suffocating. That's plastic. But yeah, so a lot of people like, and again, like the Double R is very good at doing a lot of humor, and a lot of like really creepy, surreal shit as well. And they've always done, and there's no bias, because if I didn't like their shows, I wouldn't pay money to go and see them. Yeah,
exactly. I just want to go on record and say this. I'm not, excuse me, I'm not blowing sunshine up you or your uncle's ass. Like if it was, a bit ropey, I wouldn't have turned around to you and said, oh, that's amazing. I would have been nice and polite, obviously. But I want you to know this comes from a genuine place. Like I was genuinely really enjoying it. So
that's how I feel, and it's because they understand Lynch so much. There is that fine line of comedy and horror.
Yeah.
In a lot of their acts. Yeah. They get it. They understand it.
Well, and getting back to their kind of like schedule, they had the I forget the name. He announced them as the Woodland Players or something like that. But it was essentially what I've written in my notes is the Saw Lady,
the Sycamore Ensemble. It was shit. What was that?
It definitely was Sycamore something.
Wait a minute, I've got the program.
There you go.
Aha! Everything's.
We planned ahead, listeners.
Let's see.
We got all our notes ready to begin with.
What? It was. Let me see. No, that's not right. It was. Kate Shields and the Sycamore Ensemble.
There you go. And that was really intriguing as well.
That was really
because it's kind of and I'm not trying to be offensive here, but when someone comes out and plays a Saw, the first thing you do is kind of go, she's playing a Saw. Wow, that's kind of weird and funny.
How can you do that? I mean, that's not going to work.
Yeah, or that's going to sound silly. But then you kind of get over that, and then they build a mood. I mean, it was your uncle again on the drums, but like if people hadn't been watching him like dart off and come back in, like it could have been a completely different person because his mannerisms completely changed. And that's a sign of a good actor. Blowing sunshine up your ass. But
all the sunshine. It's too bright in here.
What was it he said to say to him? Fuck you, Lush. So
or someone okay, we'll get to that in a second. So or should we do that now? I wanted
to say it to him at some point during the day, but I never actually bumped into him when he wasn't doing something. So because he was so busy.
I got to say it was fun. Basically, he said after the new series, his dream now is for Laura Dern to one day come along to the festival, wear one of those wigs, and just say to him, "Fuck you, Ben," or "Fuck you, Ben," or "Fuck you, Lush."
Yeah.
So we got the whole crowd to
one of his first bucket list items.
Yes. So we got the whole audience to shout, "Fuck you, Ben," or "Fuck you, Lush," and he said anyone can come up to me and top me up if they want to throughout the day. And some people did, like, "Fuck you, Ben." He was like, "Hey." One person walked up and went, "Hey, what's your name?" And he went, "Ben." He went, "Fuck off, Ben." He was like, "You got it wrong."
Yeah, it's not quite right. But
fuck off, Ben.
I would have just loved to have been there to watch people's reactions, because that's just enough off of the quote for people to think like there's legit shit going down.
Oh, fuck off, Ben. Oh man, why you gotta be like that?
So don't hassle him. He's fine.
It's like, jeez, man, come on. But yeah, so
we need to move through this.
Yes,
because we're still like on day one in the morning.
Jesus Christ, so much.
Yeah, so Not rushing over people because they weren't good, but Heavy Metal Pete, he was great. He's a guy who I'll get onto it later. He was doing a Bob impression as well, but he also did a Mr. C impression, which was really cool.
Yes, he
got some of the mannerisms really down.
Yeah, it was just the air and the it was the body language.
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
wasn't it?
completely.
So,
And then he ate a light bulb.
oh, I've seen him do that before, and I don't think I've quite heard a reaction like I did this year when there was one person, I can't remember, I think they might be in the VIP section, and they were like, no, and then when he really bit into it, there was like a squeal.
Oh my god, yeah.
And you know,
my toes are cringing just thinking about it.
And you know, he's stood up there and he obviously hears that, and he's like, yes, gone.
Yeah.
That's the moment you're like, I've got them hook, line, and sink.
Yeah,
but,
and fair play, because it was mesmerising.
It was really good. I've seen him eat glass before, and it never gets any easier.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Because you're like, it's like, oh god, that's so horrible. But
yeah,
that's Heavy Metal Pete for you. He's fucking good.
And unless I'm forgetting someone, which I really don't want to, there was one more act. Which was the singer lady.
That wasn't. No, it wasn't Julie Cruise Ship. That was the next day. M. Brûlée.
There you go.
Oh, M. Brûlée. She did both days.
Amazing singer.
She's phenomenal. I've seen her so many times.
She said she would go someday. She said she would go away. She told me that she would die for love.
She did. Did she do? I know she definitely did the No Stars in the English Spanish song. But what was the first one? Was that?
She did. I think it's from the first episode.
Oh, okay.
I think it might have been that, because she did both days, so I might be getting them mixed up. But maybe I'm remembering it wrong. But yeah, she's so good. She does on the second day. She does this one a lot. She does a rendition of Sycamore Trees with no backing track.
Oh wow!
And it's incredible.
That sounds powerful.
Yeah, and everyone just sits there and they shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I felt kind of bad for her because obviously there were some people who'd kind of they knew she was the last act, and so they decided to just bug her off, and I was like, that's very rude. So I'm going to wait till the end because she had an amazing voice and very, very powerful voice.
Brilliant. She's really, really fucking good.
Mm-hmm. And
really good. But yeah, then there was her, and she sung 2 songs, and she was fucking amazing as per usual.
Yeah. Okay, well, we need to get a move on. So, I've got things in the list that I did them because at this point, you had your train car booking, so you knew when you were going to be in certain places, and so you decided to go off and do your signings at this point, or?
Yes, because it was after the Double R Club finished. That was the time of the signings for VIPs and Blue Diamond members. Which went on for so long.
Well, I went down to the train car on your suggestion and managed to get in the first group because there were a couple of people who, there were slots left.
I was just like, you gotta go now.
Yes, and I won't go into complete detail because I feel like, especially if they put it on next year, that people should go and witness it for themselves, to be honest. But it was very, very interesting. Very kind of a different kind of experience and quite intense. It was essentially it's not a spoiler because it's on the schedule list, but in the train car, murder happens, and it's a rather famous murder, and I wonder whose murder that could be based on Twin Peaks and a train car. But and again, that was the performers involved were amazing, and Heavy Metal Pete again in his Bob outfit this time, completely different, being Bob instead of Mr. C. Like, you just got to hand it to like some people like me. They think, oh, you know what, I'm not too bad at acting. Maybe I could do like a bit here, a bit there, and then you see people who like literally transform, and you're like, oh fuck's sake,
like fuck me, maybe not.
Yeah. So yeah, I've got an awful feeling, Matt, that you might be the star of this movie that we're going to make, and not me.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the train car, and that was great. I hopped down to the Roadhouse, which was down in the basement, and basically had sort of live music all day, a rotation of bands. I happened to catch a band called the No Sorrows, who were a nice kind of sounding folky band. The guy was very apologetic because he said we're really like the least Twin Peaks band here, but they had they had some really nice songs, and they had a couple that were really kind of the kind of song where it kind of like it tapers off, and then slow build, and all the instruments come in, and they had like like a violinist or a fiddlist, so. It was really kind of, it was like, like hoedown style build up to this massive kind of like, wall of noise of all of them singing at the same time, singing harmonies. So, yeah, I can recommend them. And the other band that you and me managed to catch later on together was Prom Queen.
Yeah, they were really cool. I haven't had a chance to listen to her album yet.
Oh, actually. Okay, I've done that. It's great. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. That album, actually, Matt, has got a cover of November Rain on it. I think I pointed out to you at the time when we bought the CD, I said, there's November Rain on there. Did I? Or was that...
Yes, you did.
Yeah. And then I looked at the songwriting credits and it said Axl Rose. So I was like, yeah, it's the November Rain. It's a really interesting cover. I enjoyed it a lot. So yeah, you should definitely give that a spin at some point.
Yeah, they played one of the tracks, didn't they? And that's why I was like, I gotta get it.
Yeah, they played Vengeance.
Great.
Which is a great song. It's probably my favourite on the record, but it was it's like a proper kind of 50s, 60s like dancehall slow jam thing where it's kind of like, do up, but it's like I will kill you.
It's great. I really, really dug it.
Yeah,
they were really cool.
Yeah, I've sort of followed them on Facebook now, so that it's nice to go and actually, to be honest, I really wasn't expecting to actually go down there and catch any of the live music because I thought there's plenty of other stuff going on. But I'm glad I did. I'm really glad I did, and I probably, whenever there is a gap next year, I'll duck down there because.
Oh, definitely, yeah. And that's where they have Twingo as well.
Okay, it was a really nice room. I mean, it was a bit small. There were a lot of people in there at one point, and it was kind of hard to see, but the atmosphere of it was really nice because it was such a small venue, and okay, yeah, we'll just cover the guy very briefly because when I go to anything, I people watch because it's just interesting to me to do that. And there was this one guy at the front who had there were twin cameras, so I'm guessing he was filming some kind of 3D effect.
Yeah, must have been.
And he was just, oh man, he was glued to the thing and he was grinning the whole time. He was just so happy. And I remember turning to you and saying, like, either he's got permission and he's like one of their like family members or friends or something, he's doing it for them, or he's like the biggest bollocked like bootlegger of all time. He just does not give a shit. He turns up, he stands at the front in front of everybody, walks backwards and forwards, grinning the whole time, staring at his camera in 3D.
So what you can do? Stop playing, shut up and keep playing.
So kudos to that guy if that's what he was deciding to do. I should actually take a look and see if that footage has ended up online because yeah, it was a good gig, so it'd be nice to relive it.
It was a cool gig, really cool. They were really good.
It's a shame I didn't get to see the other bands, but there's so much going on.
Yeah, exactly. There is
so
much going on.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, while I was going to say, you were doing that, I was upstairs queuing for 4 hours to meet the cast and crew.
Yeah. And we probably are going to do signings next year. Obviously,
I
it'll
would
depend on
recommend
who's there, but I think we probably will if we're VIP. So, yeah, I hope we don't miss too much by being up there.
No, well, I mean, it'll work out. Because the problem was, obviously, I was up there for 4 hours. We'll talk about who was there in a second, but the only problem I had is, so obviously, I wanted to speak to everyone. I wanted to go meet everyone, shake their hands, get a signature, get a photo, all that crap.
Yeah.
Problem is that they'd announced they were doing something really cool in the screening room, because basically this year they weren't able to show any episodes.
Yeah.
Because I heard rumours that Showtime were playing a little bit of hardball.
Yeah.
And they didn't, and the people that own the rights were like, no, you're not doing it this year. Because usually what they do is throughout the day they would have the screening room showing episodes of the show.
Mm-hmm.
So if there was a bit of a lull and you're like, I don't really want to go along to the dancing thing or whatever, or I've done the train car, but this doesn't interest me. I wonder what episode they're showing.
Yeah, you can just kind of like dip in.
Cool. But yeah, they weren't able to show any episodes this year, except this really annoyed me. It started. This thing they announced, like something really cool later. I was like, "Oh, got to see this." Started while I was still doing the signings.
Yes, that thing that didn't happen that we won't talk about. But yeah, it was good. It was great.
Can we not talk about it? I think we can talk about it.
Well, they said at the time, please don't tell anybody. So I didn't know if we were actually supposed to.
Well, I just said it, so you might want to read it out.
Yeah, so we all watched Mr. Black.
We all watched Ace Ventura.
Yes.
It was really cool seeing that episode of Family Matters on the big screen.
Yes, I enjoyed Redacted. It everyone was happy to see Redacted and cheered and whooped, and it's kind of nice to watch TV communally like that with a group of people who are all into the same thing you're watching. I don't get to do that too often, so that was nice. I'm glad you at least made it for some of it.
Yeah, I caught the second half, which is cool because of seeing that episode of EastEnders was really good on the big screen. But yeah, that was the only thing that kind of pissed me off, was that because I was still doing the signings and I came down, I was like, fuck, I knew it was going to be this, and it's halfway through. Balls.
That's unfortunate. Yeah.
Got to see some of the cool stuff. Got to see one of the really cool things, but I wanted to see the explosion. That was the thing. But I got to see the woodsman. But yeah, so the cast and crew that they had there, they had, I think it was the most they ever had actually, which was about 6 or 7, I believe.
Quite a few, quite a few.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yes. So I'll just go through no particular order. Yeah, I'll go in the order I met them actually. So first of all we had Sean Bolger, who he only had like a bit part in the show. He was the detailer that finds the room 315 key.
Yeah.
It's 315, yeah. He finds the key when he's cleaning the car, I believe. He was a cool guy. He was just having fun, like any actor, like they have to talk themselves up, but it looked like he was generally enjoying himself. Then we had the adorer. He was so cool. This guy was so cool. Jake Wardle, who played Freddy the geezer, the Cockney. He was fucking lovely. He's younger than me, which is depressing. But
I know when that happens, it's very sad.
God.
But
it is. But I can confirm that the accent in the show was it looks like it was put on a bit.
Yeah.
Because he comes from East London, so he's got a bit of an accent, but not really. He was lovely. He was so sweet. And looked so happy to be there, and so overwhelmed.
I'm putting some pictures up now because you've got some pictures with the cast, so
yes,
I'm putting them up as we speak on the YouTube.
And he wore that green glove all day.
That's dedication.
Both days. He wore it.
That's dedication.
Both days. He had that green glove on the whole time. And I it's not, you try and have like a little conversation with them. And I just said to him, what's it like having people come up to you to get your autograph and take photos, and they're basically dressed up as you.
Yeah,
because they are. There were people there dressed as Freddy, like the green glove and the.
Yeah, I thought about doing the green glove, but I couldn't find readily available one that looked good enough, like to be the same one. Yeah.
But yeah, they were so people dress up, and I just asked myself, what's it like? It's got to be it's a bit weird, right? And he just said, yeah, he's like, it's weird. Like, he can't. He's like, I can't get my head around it. It's the first thing. It's the first time he's ever done anything like this. Like Twin Peaks is his first acting gig.
That's mind blowing. Yeah.
He started out as he did a YouTube video. He started out on YouTube doing impressions, and the video went viral. And David Lynch found out about it, and the next thing you know, he's fucking calling him, asking if he wants to be in something.
That's a good way to get cast in TV though, because same thing happened to the guy who plays Aaron in The Walking Dead.
Really?
Yeah. He had kind of like this famous kind of minor viral hit video that was just him doing impressions of different actors all in the same room as him.
Wow.
And I can't verify if that's why he got hired.
Oh,
but
him?
Yeah. Aaron from The Walking Dead.
He's like one of my favourite characters in the show.
Yeah.
He's the one who's got a husband. Is he married in it? I can't. But he's got a boyfriend. Isn't
yeah, either married or got a boyfriend.
He's like one of my favourite characters. He's the one where they did something amazing where they had two gay characters who felt like people.
Yes,
it was like, look how gay they are.
Without
like,
us getting
kissed.
on our massive sort of like
tangent.
What's the word? Soapbox here. But, it was an instance of a character where their sexuality was not their defining characteristic. Which,
yeah, like,
yes,
you
please, let's have more of those.
Yeah, you find out they kiss, and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
and then for the rest of the series, they're like a normal couple because that's what people are like.
Yeah. And Jesus was in it for a season and a half. I mean, comic readers knew that he was gay, but he just made a kind of a side comment about boyfriends to Maggie, and it was like it just happened and it went and it wasn't a big deal. And
I didn't know about the. Yeah, definitely more of that. Yeah, I didn't know the about. That's how the actor got the job. Fuck, that's awesome.
Well, yeah, I can't verify, but he definitely was kind of like a little tiny bit famous for doing that. So
that's
it probably helped.
It probably did, yeah. So Jake was he was really cool. He was really nice. I had like a little back to back with him, a few tweets on Twitter, which was really cool. But he's just a really sweet kid, really sweet kid. Next was Amy Shields, who brilliantly played everyone's favourite airhead. Not even airhead, just out of her mind, Candy.
Yeah.
Looking really Hollywood. I was still there going, she looks really Hollywood.
Do you have to say it in that voice?
But it was just
she looks really Hollywood.
But it was just like just the way she was like dressed. I was like, oh, you look very Hollywood.
Yeah.
But she was really nice. I didn't realise she was Irish.
Is she?
Yeah, I mean, I heard her and I thought it sounds like an American accent. I don't know if it started to slip or not, but she was really cool. So I had a chat with her. I got everyone to sign my Secret History of Twin Peaks book because my DVDs are like just full of signatures and there's no space anymore. So I was like, oh yeah, could you sign the book? She's like, and she looks at the book and she goes, have you listened to the audiobook version yet? I was like, no, I haven't.
Oh yeah, I remember you telling me this.
I want to get round to it. And she says, well, because I narrate it, don't you? And I'm like, shit. It's like, I think I'd heard that. I was like, but no, I haven't listened to it yet. And she was like, well, I'm just asking nicely. I think you should listen to it. So she says that Matthew with two T's, blah, 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 we're talking. She starts to sign it. And then I see her, she starts to like chuckle to herself. And she writes something and then she signs it. And she hands it back to me. And as I walk away, I look at it and she'd just written like, to Matthew, and then in capital letters, audiobook, and then signed it, which I thought was really funny. That was really cool. But then next up there was James Marshall.
Oh no! Before that, I just want to touch on because while you were meeting all these lovely people, and I was very jealous downstairs. I was watching The Call of the Owl.
Oh shit! Yeah, I missed that, didn't I? Shit.
Yeah.
That was what
which was very interesting. Now, I will preface this, and again, if anyone who's responsible for organising the festival, please do not take this to heart. It was like if you could pick like the most tangentially linked, like barely linked thing, like it's a live animal demonstration at a Twin Peaks festival, but. I did actually really enjoy myself. The guy, the chap with the owls, he was very nice. He knew his stuff, and I learned a load of shit, actually. I've kind of written here, today I learned hoodwinked, under the thumb, and boozing are all falconry terms, and they come from falconry, which is interesting, yeah. So I learned something today.
So you went to a festival and you learnt stuff.
Yeah, but
I'm annoyed I missed that because it sounded really cool.
it was neat. He kind of he had bringing out various owls and explaining about them and stuff, and he would leave them on the stage at the front and then walk to the back and stand at the side and call them. And for the most part, they would come. There was one that was really didn't want to come, but eventually did.
Sorry, people.
Yeah, I think a little bit, but
I'm embarrassed. I'm shy.
it was really neat, and I really enjoyed it more than I thought I was going to. So I will say kudos for that. It's a shame. Yeah, it's a shame because there were people in there, but there wasn't as many people, and it would have been nicer if there were more people there. But I think most people probably took one look at it and went, "What's this got to do with Twin Peaks?" And like I said, to be fair,
Owls.
Yeah, to be fair, owls is literally the only thing it's got to do with Twin Peaks. But I did enjoy it, so it was a nice little surprise. Good. Yeah.
Oh, I'm annoyed I missed that. I mean, at the same time, I got to meet the actors and have a chat with them, which was cool. But it's like, damn, I wanted to see that.
That's the problem. There is a lot on, and it would be easy to miss everything. I mean, I intentionally. I decided before I went that I wasn't going to pay for any signings, not because I have an aversion to it. It's just because I'd already budgeted the day. So
which is fine.
Yeah, so I kind of like decided I wasn't going to do that, and I managed to see pretty much everything else.
Yeah, exactly. You got to do everything else besides.
But yeah, if I'd have gone and done that, I would have had to have made a sacrifice. And yeah, it's a shame that you can't do everything. But I mean, there is if next year, we'll be going for the full weekend, so awesome. That would be good, and that way we'll be able to maybe see everything, a bit more.
Yeah, because you have the 2 days, so
yeah,
won't be as much of a problem.
Moving on, we'll also quickly comment about the costume pageant. We mentioned it earlier because it was kind of moved to a different room. Well, I say room; it was moved to a corridor. Because they were having technical issues setting up James's gig. And I thought the costume pageant was excellent. Again, massive kudos to your aunt and uncle because they had so much energy, and I'd already seen them all day running around doing the other things that they do, like the train car and the double R performance and everything else. So
yeah, they don't stop.
Yeah, they're an inspiration.
Oh, actually, before we get to that, shall I go through the rest of the people I met?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you do.
Yeah, because that happened. Because that happened afterwards anyway, didn't it? So we'll oh my god, we're actually going in order. Yeah, I'll go through really quick. Met James Marshall. Came across a bit shy and nervous actually, which was weird. But he, at the same time, really nice guy, really sweet. Got a cool photo with him.
I met James by the shop. I didn't actually meet him. I just stared at him.
You're close to me.
I remember texting you in all caps, like I've just seen James.
It's just walked past me.
Yeah.
It is weird when you see him walking around. And then I saw, and then for me the main event, because I'd already met Sherilyn Fenn, but for me the main event was meeting Michael Horse.
Yes, Hawk.
Because it was fucking Hawk.
Yeah.
He was so nice. Like, I know you will say, like, you meet someone, it's like, oh, that's a night, but he was so cool. It looked like it came across like he genuinely had a lot of time for everyone.
Yeah.
That he wanted to talk to them and he wanted to shake their hands. I had a really, really cool, I think it was one of my favourite photos besides Jake. Like Michael was just so cool. It's like, I got to meet a legit Native American as well.
Yeah. And he does a lot for his people and the art forms that they have and stuff, which I didn't, me being completely ignorant, I didn't even realise until fairly recently. But
yeah, likewise. But it's like I got to meet a bona fide, legit Native American. That's so cool.
That is cool.
He was really nice, really sweet. Incidentally, the second day, I know I'm going ahead to the second day very quickly, but just because we're on the topic of Michael Horse, I'm in the bathroom and I can hear someone walking in singing, and I was like, sounds like a Native American singing. I was like, maybe someone's taking the piss. Like, that's not cool. I was like, maybe not, because the first I was like, no, it can't be him. That can't be him.
Him using ordinary people toilets. They don't use people toilets. They use celebrity toilets.
Consider because the actors and the cast had somewhere to actually go. It was the way they had their own area, and so I'm at the sink washing my hands. Door opens. I look, and the singing continues. I look up. God, fuck me! It's Michael Horse walking out the cubicle. Stands next to me.
He's just found
and starts
pages.
talking
He's
to me.
He's just found the pages.
Yeah, he comes out and just initiates a conversation with me. He comes to me and goes, "Hey, boss man, how's it going?"
That is so cool. I'm
like,
so jealous. That's so cool.
I looked at him like, Michael, just call me boss man. How do I do this? What do I say?
Mouth to brain.
So I just talked to him like he was a normal person, because you don't be like, "Oh my god, I love you."
That's the thing I've
'cause it's
really
not what they
tried hard to learn, because I've been to a couple of VIP things for bands and stuff. I go to a lot of gigs, so I've met a few celebrities, so to speak, and that's the one thing you kind of learn is you have to just they're completely ordinary people, and to be honest, you know, even unless they're the most unbridled of egomaniacs,
and they're a dickhead.
they're not going to be able to take all of that kind of praise and excitement from you. They're probably going to feel a bit embarrassed or shy. So the best thing you can do is just kind of level with them, and it's very hard to do.
Oh yeah, it is. But yeah, you just talk to them like they're people.
Yeah.
So I just had a conversation with him. It was like the weirdest thing over the weekend. We're just there talking. I said to him like, yeah, it's going good, blah blah blah. Talking. I said, "You're ready for the second day of signs?" Because I had the regular signs on the Sunday. He's like, "Oh yeah, ready to go." I went, "How long do you reckon it's going to be?" And he just puffed his cheeks and went, "I don't know, man. I don't know," because he's so laid back. And he's like, "I don't know." He said, "I just wait for them to tell me what to do." He says, "I've been married 5 times, so I'm used to it." And I was just like, that was like one of the highlights of my weekend, was just having a normal conversation with Michael Horse. Fucking weird was that? So yeah, awesome. So met him, had signing that really cool guy, really cool. The poem that Hawk, I think he says it to Sheriff Truman. Mm-hmm. In the show, my mum has it tattooed on her arm. She's like, "Please show it to him. Please show it to him." I was like, "Okay, I'll do it." So I had to sign, and just at the end of my sign, I was like, "Oh, can I just show you something really cool? You might like it, you might not. I don't know." And I just said, "You know the poem that Hawk's poem in the show?" And he goes, "Oh yeah." He said, "I can't remember it, but I remember there being a poem." And so I just showed him, and he was like, "That is the coolest thing ever." And he's like, "Can I take a photo of it?" I was like, "Yeah, go for it." So I tell my mum, "I just took a photo of your tattoo," and she's like at home freaking out. Like, ah!
Oh bless, because that's awesome.
Yeah, and yeah, he was really nice, really really cool. Then met Sherilyn Fenn again. Trying to be nice but, again. But we're in the queue, and suddenly we're told by someone, "Oh, by the way, it's £25 to have a photo with her." So fuck that and fuck you.
She
apparently, I heard rumours that it was partway through the signing, she just decided this. And if that's the truth, I hope not. Because it's like, come on, man, like, we're, VIPs, like, the whole thing was like, we paid more, and also the sign, getting a signed, one autograph and a photo is covered in the price.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you've got all these other actors, you've got the Michael Horses right on the table next to you, just like going, yeah, cool. And I was just like, that's a bit shit. So I still had a sign-in with her. She seemed a bit off. It was weird. Sometimes I just didn't want to be there.
Yeah, it's tricky, isn't it? Because I didn't see her at all once during the whole thing. While I saw literally everybody else at some point, and I didn't even go to the signings, So
yeah, it was odd. It felt weird. Maybe she just wasn't feeling well. I don't know. But
yeah, and you can have days like that. Totally. I think I was telling you an anecdote that when me and my wife went to see one of our favourite bands, Camelot with a K.
Yes.
I was talking to, I was doing what we were just talking about, trying to, thank you, trying not to be like that. And I'd moved on I'd moved on from the main singer to one of the guitarists. So I was talking to the guitarist, and I turned back, and my wife is like offering the singer a sweet, because apparently she asked him how his day was, and he said, "Oh, I'm a bit hungry because we don't get to eat until after this." And she said, "Do you want a sweet?" So it's really, you can tell sometimes they have off days, sometimes they're not feeling well, things like that happen. So, and at the end of the day, it is work for them. It's just, it's nice that they can, their job is that they get to meet people who are really excited and want to meet them. So
yeah, they've come to see them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was, maybe she's having an off day, but I was just like, that's a bit shitty. But and especially when it comes to the next one, which was then I met obviously Sabrina Sutherland, and She was so cool. I mean, I got that from the Q&A, but she was really cool. She was really, really invested, like listening to people and just, she was really nice.
Yeah.
And we're in the queue for her, and because she was, if people don't realise, she was actually in The Return. She played a member of the staff
at the casino. Yes.
During the Mr. Jackpot scene, she's the staff member who's kind of freaking out a bit because he keeps winning. And so she had photo cards of still shots of her in character with like the other actors in there, like scenes from the movie. And we're queuing up, and I think his name was Damien. He was really nice. He like performed with James later on. He was like kind of acting almost like a PA to some of them, like he was helping them out, stuff like that.
Okay, yeah.
And we're in the queue, and he said, "Oh, by the way, if Sabrina will sign as much as you want."
Nice.
She has photo cards and that on the table, and she'll sign them like no extra charge. Like she does not mind.
That's cool.
And I've just come off like from the other queue before it was like all of a sudden, it's 25 quid for a photo, whereas everyone else was just like, yeah, it's all in in the price.
And she's like,
and
yeah, give me your arm, I'll sign it. It's fine.
Yeah. But yeah, she was really cool. She was on the ball as well. Like part of it. I think she was working, because she was asking lots of questions.
Oh, that's good because you feel like it's you're having an actual kind of a conversation with people. Yeah.
So I was like, oh, she's right. If you if you sign the book for me, she was like, yeah, and I got I got her to sign something for my girlfriend as well that she doesn't know about yet, which she'll know tomorrow when she comes. But
it's okay. Podcast doesn't go live until probably
exactly.
Friday or Saturday. So,
but yeah, and she was like, oh yeah, she went, and then she was like, so tell me how you found out about the show. Tell me your whatever comes into your head about the show. I was like, oh, clever. It was part. She sounded like she was genuinely interested, and another part is like she's working.
You can tell she's like accruing information.
Yeah, she's the producer. She's taking all this shit in.
Wow, it's like a big focus group.
Yeah. So I told her. I told one of my earliest memories of living at home with my mum, which I've said I said earlier in the year when we were reviewing the episodes.
Yeah.
Just how one of my earliest memories when I was about 5 or 6 was my mum watching the original series, the original run on VHS tape, because I remember the VHS. I really. Very, very vividly. I really remember these VHS tapes having all the different things on the sleeves,
I remember you saying because they had such great art, like packaging and the use of like imagery and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. That stuff from the show. That one was like Dr. Jacoby's glasses, stuff like that. And I was saying, I remember that. I said I was too young, so she'd watch it. I didn't know what was going on, so that was a weird. And I told the story when I was doing creative writing in English at high school. And we had to write a story, and I ended up writing a horror story, because of course I did. And I wish I still had those papers, and I used to really like writing that shit. And I got like really good marks for it. The teacher's like, that's great. And I took it home, I showed Mum, I was like, yeah, I got a good mark for this, And I remember Mum reading it and just going, you've like lifted character names from Twin Peaks, right? I was like, what are you talking about? Because I was like, what are you talking about? Because I haven't watched Twin Peaks at that point. I'm still... My mum watched it, but I didn't. So I'd like named characters like Dr. Jacoby. I think there was...
That's awesome.
There was a character called
like deep-seated, didn't you?
Yeah. All these characters, like not all of them, but a lot of them I'd like... I'd like lifted the characters, and the story had nothing to do with Twin Peaks. It was like almost like a zombie thing, and they had to have so I can remember it. Yeah, it was like a motel, and Dr. Jacoby was the owner of the motel. He was like a former doctor, and it was like they summoned them from like reading a book or something that he had. It was like very like Evil Dead type stuff, and then he had to like create some kind of like weird herbal thing that you had to like shove in their mouth to destroy them.
Man, I wish you had this.
Shit, I wish I could find it.
Note to people out there: just keep all of your old shit, because you might look at it and cringe, but there'll be one day where you want to read it. I've still got some of my creative writing from school, and basically I was obsessed with Mordheim, the Warhammer kind of like sub game had just come out, so I was obsessed with like City of the Damned, everything's on fire and so I wrote like hundreds of stories like based around this same kind of idea, just ripping off Mordheim.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what you do. Like you take it in, and you sometimes you don't like when you're younger, even when you're older. Sometimes you just don't realize you're doing it.
Yeah, and you need to learn that process of not just regurgitating the influence, but like actually coming up with your own new ideas. Sort of like provided by the influence, kind of sparking it in you. So, I think every kid does that. But
yeah, that's why it's good to have a proofreader. But yes, so I told her that, and I said, yeah, and I didn't. I even said to her, like, obviously, with my mum watching the show, it just subconsciously lodged itself in the back of my head, like back of my mind. I said, and now it's like and I said to her, like, now Twin Peaks is like one of my favourite TV shows of all time. It's weird. And she's like, huh, interesting. I'm like, and again, I'm like, oh, you're working.
Your feedback has been saved.
I'm like, I'm fine with that, because obviously she's taking this all in. Like, how did you find out about the show? What? And you're going, okay, demographics. So it's not just because even at the Q&A, and there's skipping again. The Q&A, she said like, and she's noticed over the weekend like, there's a lot of young Twin Peaks fans as well. Like, and I suppose I'd even though I'm 30, like, I'd still fall into that category, because when the show came out, I was like
for sure. You definitely weren't old enough to. Well, apparently you did take it in, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. But yeah, not old enough to appreciate or become a fan of it. So I think that's one thing she was doing, was going, that is, what is our demographic? Is it just? And obviously she's like, interesting. So I see. Because before she knew, I could have just gotten into the show because of the new series. But and
I mean, there were some people. I think
there was like one.
Yeah, there was one person put their hand up when your uncle asked the crowd. So it's nice. It's cool that someone liked it that much that they come to the first festival that was literally on straight after.
Exactly. But yeah. So those are all the people I met. They were all really cool. And it was really, really, really nice to meet them. It was especially with James and Michael, it was really, really surreal, because obviously it was like the first time when I met Dana Ashbrook. And Cheryl,
I can't wait for him to be on. I can't wait for him to be going to one that I'm going to. He's my bucket list. I will pay for a signing. I will pay for a photo.
Dana
I don't care.
He's such a dude. Like, he's so nice.
Yeah.
And Cheryl Lee is still fucking gorgeous as well. Like, she's literally one of the sweetest women I've ever met. She's so nice.
It's weird. I'm sitting here. I'm already excited about next year. I don't even know who's been announced yet. So.
And Kenneth Welsh was supposed to be there as well.
Yeah, they had a massive roster of people.
Yeah, but he couldn't make it because of an acting gig. So good for him. He's still fucking.
Well,
working.
yeah.
It's weird because I was gonna go as Windham this year if I was gonna dress up. I was like, I'll do Windham. Easy enough. Get a suit, tatter it up a bit, grey my hair, and then pale my face, get some black teeth and black lips, fucking sorted.
Nice.
Good thing, because he wasn't there.
I've already thought about what my costume might be for next year if I do a costume. I kind of don't want to tell you, because I just want to rock up, and if I pull it off the way I want to.
Don't tell me. I want it to. I do not want to see it until the day, because that's the type of shit I love to see and go, oh, that's awesome. Like the woman who. And we'll get onto this in the.
We're pretty much on the costume pageant now in terms of my list of stuff. So.
Well, she wasn't at the pageant on the Saturday. She was there on the Sunday.
Yeah, I would imagine she would have gone to the other day if she wasn't there on the Saturday.
Yeah, the woman who came in costume as Nadine in her fucking drape shop.
Yeah.
In the window of the drape shop.
Yeah, I didn't get a photo
fucking
of it,
awesome.
But basically she was carrying around like a kind of like a thing on her shoulders that was like a cardboard box that had actual working drapes.
Brilliant. And because I got talking to her in the queue, and she's lovely. I got on really well. She was really cool. She was the woman who I told you about this costume. So she's the woman that came as the fucking ceiling fan.
That is amazing.
A couple of years ago, like 3 years ago, she went as the ceiling fan, the Palmer House ceiling fan.
That's a beautiful thing. If you're going to cosplay something really out there.
Yeah. And because I know we're getting onto the costume contest now, but although she wasn't able to do it on Saturday, on the Sunday she did. She didn't come first, second, or third, or anything. But because I just want to get this out of the way now, because I'm on the topic. She got I think it was like a lifetime achievement award, basically, because like you always come every year in such elaborate, awesome costumes that we wanted to give you a separate thing.
Nice, that's beautiful.
So yeah, that was really cool.
Lifetime achievement for services to cosplay. Excellent.
Yeah, I was like, perfect. It's perfect.
Yeah.
I love when people do creative costumes like that. I'm like, that's brilliant. Like, why didn't I think of that? That's why I'm not winning things.
Well, briefly talking about the costumes, because I mean there were a lot of costumes, and I can't remember all of them. There were quite a few impressive ones, and I remember the top three as voted for by the crowd of people in the corridor, and that was Jerry was third place, I believe. And that guy was fairly convincing. He had a really good beard, and the costume was perfect.
He's great. Him and his I don't know if it's his wife or his. I don't know if they're married. Not. They go every year. They're regulars.
Oh, okay.
His girlfriend / wife or whatever. She was one of the three. Like Candy.
Oh yeah, Mitchum girls, basically.
Yeah, she's one of the Mitchum girls. And yeah, they're there every year, and they always have really cool costumes.
Wow.
He went one year as Leo Johnson.
Nice.
Not only just Leo Johnson as is in Braindead Leo Johnson, but not only that, he carried around with him a little cage filled with fake spider. With a fake spider, and I was like, that's fucking elaborate. That's great.
Nice.
with the string as well. I was like,
this is the one thing that came across from the festival is just the fan enthusiasm, and it was really nice because. You sit and watch something at home by yourself, or maybe with your like partner or family or whatever, but you don't necessarily get to talk to a lot of people about it, and that's what I've loved about this cast is we get to sit down and talk about Twin Peaks, which is great.
Yeah.
But just the enthusiasm of other people is so infectious that you can't help but smile while you're there.
Yeah,
and especially with the
great.
costumes and the level of detail. Hello? Are you there?
Lo and behold, sorry. Yeah, I just had a notification on my phone. This is really weird. Just as I had finished talking about the people in the costumes and in particular the woman who was the ceiling fan, and then the drapes. I just this second got a friend request on her from Facebook.
That's amazing.
From her on Facebook. What the fuck? What the fuck?
Twin Peaks,
so
bringing
weird.
people and drapes together.
That's why I went silent. I was like, wait, no, what? Really? I just spoke. Like, did she hear me? Is she listening live? Are you there?
That's
Christina, are you there?
ever so slightly creepy, but we approve. Thank you.
Yeah. I'll have to tell her that. That'll be quite funny.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell? Wow, that was... Wow, what a weird little... That is such a strange coincidence.
Well, that's perfect. Second place was a golden shovel, a golden shit shoveling shovel. I felt kind of stupid in that it took me a little while to work out what that costume was. I was kind of like, everyone was cheering and clapping, and even you. So I turned to you and I kind of like made this face like, I don't know what she is.
You're like, what?
Yeah, I forgot Goldmember was in Twin Peaks, but then I saw the handles
like, hey,
on
wait
her feet,
a minute.
and then I got it. And I twigged.
Oh yeah, the feet. Yeah, that was really cool. It was a nice little detail.
Yeah. So that was cool. I think I've got some footage or a picture of that. I believe, hopefully. But I definitely have a picture of the winner, which was and I both seen her throughout the day. So we kind of already were aware that it was a really good costume. Someone came as American Girl / Nido, who eventually turned out to be Diane. With a kind of like a skin-coloured plaster over her face so that she kind of had tiny slits so she could see. But the effect was really good in that...
Oh, it looked great.
Yeah.
It looked so good.
It did. It was really convincing.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Must be so fucking cold in that place walking around in like your pyjamas. But
I know. I mean...
Oh yeah, pro tip for the future festivals. Guys, maybe shut some of the doors that are open in the main hall, especially when it gets dark.
It's cold as shit.
It's cold as shit.
I'm freezing my ass off. Oh, I can't. It's not going to well. But yeah, that deserved. As soon as they were like a number one, I was just like stood there thinking, it's got to be her.
Yeah, it's well deserved.
It has to be.
Yeah. Well done to that person, whoever you are.
Yeah, well deserved. Because good lord, it was awesome.
Okay, well, let's speed on to the James Marshall gig. Now, I know they had technical issues setting up, and it was kind of apparent as they started that there were more kind of technical issues. But overall, I still enjoyed it. I think it was great. Yeah, there was just... maybe it's because I've been spoiled. I've been to so many kind of like gigs that are actual gigs That it was just
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you
yeah.
mean.
Well, first off, I don't think that they'd had a lot of time to practice. I think they even said that at one point because I don't think they'd actually sat down and played together since in preparation at all. So it's kind of a tribute to them as musicians that they could kind of just kind of work together and sort of like do things without any practice at all, which is just kind of mind blowing to someone like me. And of course, Michael Horse got up on the microphone for a song, which was to rapturous applause, which was really nice.
Oh yeah.
Somebody's up there looking. Somebody's up there looking. Somebody's up there looking. Could be out.
Because it in some ways, although it had this kind of slightly amateurish feel to it, I think that kind of added in some ways because it felt a lot more kind of like a low-key, fun kind of like jamming atmosphere, where it's kind of like they knew what song they were going to do and they knew what key it was in and rough time signature, so they could work together and play it, but they were also kind of having fun, kind of messing around, which is nice. And
it was a bit more relaxed, a bit more laid back.
Yeah.
Once because you could see you could evidently see there was some nerves from both of them.
Yeah.
And then, but once they got into it was like, because it's like I didn't expect it to be anything like magnificent because it just felt like you said, like a jam session.
Yeah.
It's like once they calmed down a minute, it's like that was fun.
Yeah, and I mean James can shred. I mean,
Yeah.
it doing some fairly like kind of like intermediate to like highly expert riffs at the end. Like I was impressed, I don't know if he's a kind of musician full time or if kind of like he plays the odd gig now and then with an actual band. I don't know. I didn't look into it, but yeah, no, he definitely can play, definitely. And they did, of course, they play. We joked about them playing Just You and I, and they did, and they kind of got it out of the way fairly early.
Just you and I together forever. Just you.
Was it Amy Shields who came out to sing the vocals for the girl part?
Yes, she did.
Yeah, which was fun. But the whole thing, I thought the whole thing was going to be kind of cheesy, and it didn't actually come across as cheesy when it actually happened. At least to me. Did you feel that way?
Well, cheesy. I mean, the song itself is inherently cheesy.
Yeah,
he
which
actually
is
said
why
that.
I expected it to be that way.
Yeah, he did actually, to his credit, during the Q&A on the Sunday, he did refer to the song as a bit cringe. But he said, I think that's why it's good. He said because sometimes, and he was very, very diplomatic about it. He's like, sometimes, nice music like that can be cringe because it's so nice.
Yeah.
I was like, I see what he means, because it's a very schmaltzy song, but it is very cringe. But he did say, he also he told a really funny joke where he's like, because he didn't like the original recording because he said like I'd play my guitar on set because just in between takes and stuff when I wasn't needed.
Yeah.
And they called me in like him and Angelo, like David and Angelo, were like, oh, I'm doing music. And then he's like, oh cool, yeah. And then the music they wrote for him, like he's like, that wasn't really for my pitch, like that wasn't really good for me, like in terms of singing. So when he got really excited in the new series, I said they were going to do it again. He was like, great, so we're going to... He's like, great. So I'm like thinking, we're going to redo it again, so it'll be the pitch will be better for me, and we can see it. And he went, "We're just going to use the same recording, James." So I kind of went, "Oh, for God's sake!" But he likes the song, but he can see why people think it's a bit cringy.
Yeah. And to be fair, it is well, at least in its original form. But I will say kudos to them when they did the actual live performance. I'll cut in some. We're probably talking over it right now, because I did take some video of that song. It wasn't as cheesy as I thought it was going to be. So, fair play.
Well, it's because he was singing it in his normal voice.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't like an extra octave high.
And it wasn't like that. Because that's the bit I was focused on, is when he goes, and you're like, oh, Jesus Christ, my ears are bleeding. But yeah, it's because he was actually, singing it how he felt comfortable singing.
Yeah. And I think at the end as well, they I think Lindsay was supposed to be coming on to say something, but she didn't, for whatever reason. She was
a little drunk.
Oh, okay. But fair play at the end of that day.
Let's calm down, drink. Because she'd been flapping around.
Yes,
because obviously.
But it was kind of nice because in that way it gave them kind of an unintended encore. So they went off because they thought it was the end and Lindsay was going to be coming on, and I think the guy on the PA was literally like, "Lindsay's supposed to be here. Where's Lindsay?"
That was Tom Huddleston. He was like,
yeah. And then people started going like, "Encore!" Like, James, woo! And then they had to come out because there was like literally nothing they could do. So they come out and play a few more songs, which was neat.
That was nice. They're like, "Cool, we should play a bit longer, I think." Fuck it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then obviously and don't forget they got Michael Horse up as well.
Oh yeah, we mentioned that. They tried to get him up again in the encore.
Oh yeah, sir.
And,
and
he was like, no.
He went, "I've already helped you once."
Oh nice, we didn't hear that at the back, so that's cool.
So I'm not helping you again. Oh, that was funny.
Yeah.
That was really weird because they were literally, I was sat next to this American bloke at that point, and he turned to me at one point and went, "Have you seen who sat behind us?" Because obviously we were in the VIP section. I was at the back of the VIP section. Turned around and there was Jake, and it's like, there's Michael, Amy. Oh fuck, they're all sat behind me. Oh, that's weird. It's like, yeah, that's right. And he was like, "That's right, they're sitting behind us." He's like, they know their place.
Oh my god, trust the American.
But he was like, he was saying like, really joking. Man.
Yeah,
He was
yeah.
like, "That's right, because we're the cool ones." It's like, that's right. Yeah, it was so. It was it wasn't. And so I didn't really expect much from James's little set, but it was fun, and he looked like he was having fun. So it's one of those things where there was some issues, technical, and they hadn't really practiced together, like we said.
Yeah,
but
they
it was
struggled
nice
through and they pulled it off.
It looked like James was having fun, so because he kind of relaxed, I think, a bit more into it. So he was having fun, and that kind of transferred over to the audience a bit as well.
Yeah, totally.
So,
all right.
yeah,
Well, and that was pretty much the end of the day. Lindsay kind of signed off and said the goodbyes and everything else, and then you had to go home.
Yes, I had to dash.
Yeah, but I stopped by and I saw the Art Life, which kind of covered at the start of the show, but just to give you my basic thoughts, it was really interesting. I'd recommend it. I was pretty knackered at that point. I was kind of I wasn't falling asleep, but I was kind of in that mode where I'm tired. And but I really enjoyed it. It was really personal. It was kind of like an introspective look at David Lynch's younger years, literally from birth to, I don't know, about 25. So it at the end it kind of got into Making Eraserhead, but that was kind of the end of it. And
yeah, you said.
Yeah, it just had this it was really kind of an intimate look at his process for making art. The whole thing was framed by him being in his studio, just sort of making art, sort of modeling, painting, sculpting, all these other kind of things.
Yeah, it's something a lot of people forget. He doesn't just make films and television, and stuff like that. He's really fucking talented. He just loves. I think it's one of those things where he just loves what he does.
Yeah.
It feels like, because he's so hands on with everything.
Well, I think he's at the age now, and probably let's face it, has the money to be able to pretty much just do what he wants, and what he wants to do is pot around his studio and paint stuff and just.
He just loves
and you can't fault a guy for that. And I mean, I got a good sense from the documentary that was kind of his first love. He's done the filming and he's done the TV and stuff, and I think he's good at those things, and I think he enjoys those things. But like the clear sense from the thing was that the kind of like the painting or the like creating. Essentially, I guess it's called fine art. I don't know the kind of the official term, but creating actual art that you would put like in an exhibition or a hall or something. I think that's his first kind of like love. So it was really interesting. And if it weren't for the drive home, I could have watched like another 2 hours of it that covered all of the films and the TV and stuff. But it's a shame. It's a shame it doesn't go into all of his life. It's just his kind of formative years, but it was still really good. So yeah, I would recommend picking it up or watching it, however you can.
Definitely get around to it. Yeah, I will definitely get around to it because it's something that would very much interest me.
Yeah, it was a nice little snapshot of just kind of like his life. So and that was the end of that. And then I drove home. Got into a traffic jam at 2:00 in the morning.
Yay!
I said I'd text you when I got home, and I was 20 miles from home, sat there for about 40 minutes. I thought, I better text Matt, because otherwise, like, it's going to be the next day, and he'll be like, wow.
Wait, you've only just got home? Yeah. What'd you stay there?
I went to McDonald's and got a fillet of fish. God bless 24-hour McDonald's.
I do not blame you for that. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of McDonald's, but sometimes you just need something.
Well, yeah, the only restaurant open at 3 a.m. is McDonald's. So, fair play. I got an apple pie as well. I brought an apple pie home for the missus as well. It was
no cherry pie. Boo.
Yeah, apparently, didn't they have like their supplier for cherry pies? Not McDonald's, but the festival pull out at the last minute.
Yeah, I heard something like that.
Yeah.
It's like, it can't be helped.
Well, yeah, and I mean,
no one
it would have been nice, but I mean, they clearly didn't need it. I mean, there was still like a fuck ton of donuts.
Like Jerry Pie donuts. Donuts. Policeman's dream.
Yeah. So that was it for my experience. I mean, I will be going back next year, and I'll probably be doing the 2 days in the VIP. But is there anything on the Sunday you haven't talked about that you'd like to?
I mean, there was a Q&A, but if I start talking about that, I'll go on for so much longer.
I imagine that's. I think this is something about that going up on a YouTube channel or something of that ilk.
Well, there we go then. So that's.
I'll put a link in the description.
Good. They've done my job for me. My job.
Journalism.
But no. I will say, and it might sound like a bit of a criticism. On the second day, I kind of so there was Double R Club again, which was fucking
was
great.
Was it the same
once
acts
again.
or different?
No, different acts.
Oh man, I've gutted I missed that.
Really good. Another Embrulé, another Embrulé one as well, which was fantastic. And again, just every time their stuff's just so fucking good. They had someone as the woodsman, and he was crushing things. That was funny.
That sounds awesome. Oh, it's not fair.
That was really funny. Really cool costume. But so I had my slot because of VIP. VIPs had a specific slot for the train car, which is fine because it makes sense. We had our sign on the Saturday, so everyone else could, like, the regular paying customers could go to the train car like you did. It's good. It means that everyone's doing something. So I had that sorted in Double R Club, the Q&A, I was looking forward to Twingo, which is just still so much
I'm
fun.
looking forward to doing that next year.
Twingo is fantastic. It's so simple, but I think it's because I think the reason why it's so much fun is because it's at the end of the night, everyone's kind of relaxed, and everyone's on the come down, and it's just like this nice little thing, and everyone just has a laugh and a joke, and then runs off to watch and then we run off and watch the rest of Fire Walk with Me, because it's about halfway through. It's at the just partway through, at the start of the Laura Palmer stuff.
Okay, yeah.
It's just before when I walked, obviously Twingo finished. I went back, and it's when they were in the club, in that wonderful scene in the club in Canada with that really grimy, nasty, brilliant track.
Oh,
and it's so loud you
is
can't
that the
hear
Pink
them.
Room one? Yeah,
yeah, and they have to subtitle. And I know people complain about that, but I like it because that's what it's like in a club. Like you can't hear people properly.
I've been to gigs. You just have to shout in people's ears.
Exactly. But yes, we went up and watched the rest of that. But yes, that's why Twingo's so much fun. But anyway, so yeah, I had stuff like that. But the thing is, in the morning, so we had the signings. Then I found out I couldn't get a booking for the tattoo because I was really geared up for it. Because some of it was
I was kind of like
charity.
the devil on your shoulder saying, "Yeah, do it."
And my girlfriend was like, "Yeah, do it. That'd be really cool." And I was like, "Yeah, that's good. And I can cover it. You know, if it's like not suitable at work, I can wear long sleeve shirts. It's fine."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah, we go up that." And then I found out couldn't get one, so I was a bit bummed. And then it was like the shorts. I was like, David Lynch shorts, the same ones again.
Oh man, you should have told me because you could have bootlegged Scotch Broth.
I could have done. And then there was I went down and there was like some live performances which were good again, but I got there and I'd missed the start of the Elephant Man. I thought, I can watch the Elephant Man at home. It's fine.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to. I've never seen the Elephant Man before, and I didn't want to walk in halfway through.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah.
So, and I was just like, so for a good chunk, I felt a bit directionless. There was a bit of a lull, and my anxiety took over, and I struggled to. I wanted to make a point of talking to the other people in the VIP room, but I just couldn't bring myself to it because my anxiety was going a bit mental. And I was just like, I wasn't really feeling it. And I think the problem is, like I touched on with the episodes, and because they couldn't show any episodes this year, I think it detracted from the experience. Because before, I mean, I still had a great time. Like, I still had a really good time.
Yeah.
But the thing is, before, like the years before, because of the episodes that they were showing, during these lulls, during the time where, say, for example, the regulars were getting their signings, and there was the Elephant Man had finished, and there was a short break. Normally, instead of the David Lynch inspired shorts again, you'd have like an episode or two, or something in between. Even the day before. If I hadn't had the VIP signings and I went to the murder car reviewing the train car, the murder car review instead, then we would have come out, and then there wouldn't be as much. And there'd still be this break. Before they'd have a couple of screens set up, and so you could like just go, what episodes? They're showing that episode. Let's just go and sit down and watch that.
Yeah, it's kind of like a crash that's just always running for when you're tired.
And because they it's not the organisers' fault. Like, if the showrunners and the people that own the rights are playing hardball, there's not really anything you can do about it.
No, of course not.
And I think that was. I mean, that's not criticism. Again, it's not criticism at the people running it, because there's only so much they can do if they can't get the rights to show them.
Yeah,
and they can't agree to get the studio or the network to agree to it. But I just think because of that, the second day I was like, at one point, like, what the fuck am I doing? At one point, I went outside to just go and get some fresh air and just eat a sandwich. Because I was like, I'm not doing anything. I felt like cooped up. Cooped. I did. I felt a bit cooped up.
Well, I think maybe we're kind of at the place where there's definitely too much to do in one day, but maybe not quite enough to do in 2 days.
Yeah, I think if I'd have been able to get booked, if they were still doing the bookings for the tattoos, then I think that would have been better, because I'd have had something that was else to do.
Yeah.
As from about, I'd say, let me look at the timetable, from about 3:30 to 4 o'clock onwards is when it got a bit better for me. Because that's when you had the Double R Club at 3:30, which was fantastic again. Then a break for an hour. And then the costume parade, then the Q&A, then Twingo and Fire Walk with Me. The first couple of hours in the morning for me, if I'd arrived a little bit earlier, I could have gone and watched the Elephant Man, but it's fine. I've got the Elephant Man. I could, in my David Lynch box set, so I can watch anything.
Yeah, and to be fair, for a first time, you do want to kind of give it your kind of undivided attention.
Yeah, and and there were people being loud even when we were watching the David Lynch inspired shorts. So I was like, I'd rather watch it in my own time where I can have quiet.
I wanted to ask you about this actually. Maybe it's just me as a non-drinker. How do you feel about the alcohol at the event? Because I don't have anything against people drinking, but definitely when Art Life started, there were some people who'd been there for the James Marshall gig, and they were inebriated. They weren't like flat out drunk, but they were just at that annoying stage because someone came up on the thing and announced it. Like I think it was Lindsay who said, like as people were piling out, said, "Could you be quiet, please, because we're about to show the film for the people who are watching the film." And so that set off 10 minutes of people in front of me going, "Oh, shh, be quiet," drunk people thinking they're funny. Which was just a bit.
I mean, that's just people. People are dicks. I will admittedly say I am the person in the cinema that stands up and goes, "Shut up."
Yeah, I was close. I was close.
I've done it many a time. And I said, "Would you just please stop that?
But
stop kicking my chair. Stop talking."
I figured if I turned round on them, then I'd just give them more ammunition, and eventually, they did. They just left. So
yeah, it's good. Yeah, I'm that guy because it just won't. Because the problem with me is that it winds me up, and then that's all I'm focusing on.
Exactly.
So every time they do something, I'm not focusing on the movie. I'm focusing on them. I'm like, fuck off.
Fuck those guys.
My favourite one was I embarrassed the guy in front of his mate. Because I took my nan to see the Hobbit movies, because my nan likes Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit films. She likes the films. Yeah. And I'd already seen, I think it was The Desolation of Schmoog. And there was a guy in front of us. And my nan wears glasses as well. And, oh no, maybe she wasn't wearing glasses for the cinema. No, I think she was into But yeah, but anyway, the seat in front of us, there's this guy checking the football scores on his phone.
Okay.
And it's what, usually when I'm in anywhere like that, I will do two things. I turn the brightness down to 0, and then I turn it off.
Yeah.
Just in case, for whatever reason, it comes on in my pocket. I'm like, oh shit, and then I can open it without it glaring in someone's face.
Yeah.
But he had the brightness fully on, and it was distracting me. It was reflecting off my glasses, and it was distracting my nan, and I got really annoyed. And I leant forward and was like, "Excuse me, mate, can you please fucking put your phone away because I've just brought my grandmother to see this and you're distracting her." And I've never seen anyone look so sheepish and apologetic. Someone, "Oh, sorry," like, don't apologise. You shouldn't have it out.
Yeah,
put it away.
Those people know that they're being dicks. Or some people are oblivious and they.
Well, they don't. They see this thing. They do the whole thing. I'm really sorry. Like when someone finally calls them out, makes them look stupid. But it's like, if you were really sorry, why have you got it out in the first place? If you don't, it's like, fine. If you don't want to be here, fuck off.
Well, yeah, and that's after they've put up the like idiot messages at the start. It's like, turn off your phone, don't use a bright screen.
My uncle, I'm gonna have to paraphrase him a bit. I can't remember exactly what he said to someone once, but they kept talking through a film. It's a couple of years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And he leant forward and he said, "Excuse me," and I might be getting this wrong, but the basic intent is still there. And he's like, "Excuse me, is this your living room?" And they went, "No." And he went, "Well, shut the fuck up then."
Nice.
Like, hey, that's
yeah.
perfect. Because at this point, it's like, paid money, shut the fuck up. So especially when it's a movie I really want to see, but yeah. So I didn't want to see The Elephant Man, first time. People loud, But in terms of drink, like, I don't mind it. It's just when people go a bit too far and they get like completely rat faced. I'm like, why are you here?
Yeah, it's not. To me, if it was a gig, I mean, I see more people getting rat faced at gigs, and I can kind of understand that more because it's you're just there for the music and a good time. Yeah. Yeah,
and some people it helps, like me. It helps me on like a couple of beers, like from a gig or a club or something.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
I'm like, I need to take a couple of drinks because it relaxes me. No, but it's when they get like too stupid and it's like, get out.
Well, I bet like even on like a handful of drinks, you would still be like, I'm in a place where I need to be quiet, so I'll be quiet.
I did have someone, bless her. She was dressed up as Laura Palmer. It was a really cool costume, actually. Laura Palmer from the Black Lodge, which is in like the black dress. Like
yes, was it the same lady who was there with a Dale Cooper as well? Because she was quite good.
No, it was. It was different.
Okay.
This is on the Sunday, and I think she was a little bit drunk. But she wasn't like loud and obnoxious, but she kept talking to me. Bless her. But she was. There was one of the things like, I'm sat there going, I can tell you're drunk, but you're still being polite, and you're not being a dick. So I've got no problem. It was like we were sat there during the Q&A, She's like, I love Michael. I would divorce and marry him if I could. Terrible. I mean, she had an accent. I probably just butchered it, but so I'm talking to her. She's like, so where have you come from? I said, I've come from Essex. So it's like 2 hours away by public transport. And she's like, I've come from Finland.
Yeah, I met a guy from
came
Oslo.
From Finland.
His name was
you
Tom
came
as
here
well.
from Finland. You came from Finland just to come here? What?
Yeah.
Just for the festival? I was like, what the fuck?
Shout out if like some bizarre coincidence, Thomas from Oslo is listening to this. I was the guy in the red t-shirt you were talking to in front of the box while the owls were on. He said he comes over once a year. He's been doing it for a couple of years now, just for the festival.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's so cool. That's mad, isn't it?
Is.
I don't mean mad like, oh, you're mad. I mean, that's just like, wow, that's insane.
It's inspiring dedication.
The power. It means that much that you came. Like, that is fucking awesome. Like, all the power to you. Like, good for you. Like, you've come all this way because you love it so much. Like, that is dedication. Like, but it's just like, wow, the fact that people from other countries would come to London specifically for a Twin Peaks festival. It's crazy.
It is.
It's so
it's
cool.
neat though, and it's neat when stuff
really
like that
cool.
goes on in this country because, like, the one thing that reminds me of this the most is me and my friend Jay. You remember Jay from uni? We gig together a lot, so we've been to a lot of gigs, and most of the gigs that we go to, the bands that we like, the gigs are big gigs, so they're sort of like the O2 in London, or it's a big thing.
Yeah, stuff like that.
And so when you see a band like celebrities or people in like a small in a place like that, you're kind of like, oh, this makes sense because we're in a special place for doing this, and that makes sense. Until we went and saw a band called Trivium in Oxford. Now they were doing a really small club like tour, like just doing really small clubs, and so we were kind of like walking down the street, and then we looked over and the band were walking down the street on the other side of the street. They were just going to like a restaurant to eat food, and it's just like as like it's going to be burned into my memory. As they were walking, like this old biddy, like no offense, but this lovely old lady on like a Zimmer was like walking towards them, and I'm just like, and she's got like a Tesco carrier bag or something, and it just hit me like they're actually like here, like on a street where like there's chewing gum and shit. You know what I mean?
It's like they're walking among us.
Exactly, and I
common people.
That's the problem, like we were talking about earlier, is to try not to put them on too high a pedestal and treat them like people and be nice and normal to them. But
I think if you just talk to them normally, though, I think they appreciate it.
It is a bit mind blowing.
So much more.
It is a bit mind blowing when you stop to think, oh, these people have come hundreds of thousands of miles for this. Those people, have been in this show for over 25 years, and like. There's like a co-op down the road, and it's just kind of
it's like they've just popped into Asda.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, what's David Lynch doing in Asda buying a sandwich?
It's 24 hours.
It's 24 hours. I love bacon. One thing I will say, actually, the only thing about the Q I will say is Jake Wardle's David Lynch is really good.
Oh, okay.
He does a good.
I wanted to watch the Q&A video anyway, but I will look out for that now.
I don't know whether it's better or worse than mine. I think I do a good David Lynch, but again, it's one of those things like I hear it differently than other people hear it, obviously, because I you hear your own voice different than others.
Yeah. You do a pretty kind of like animated, like mix between Lynch and his character as Cole.
I do a good Cole, yeah. That's not one. One other thing. Mm-hmm. The costume parade. There was one that we were looking at, and I was like, "Hang on a second, she's got a chihuahua on. She was like dressed like a Mexican."
Yes, I remember that.
I was like, and I turned like, "You remind me of a small Mexican chihuahua."
Yes, and
it was that.
I think that was a case where I was kind of like looking at you like, "What is the costume?" And you're like, "Well, it's a chihuahua," and I'm like, "Oh."
Well, I was in the same boat. I was in the same boat though, because it wasn't until she turned around and I saw the chihuahua on. I think she had like a fan.
Yeah.
I was like, it's chihuahua. Perfect. I know what it is now. Perfect. But yeah, all in all though, I suppose we should.
Yeah, we should wrap up. It's been like 2 hours.
But all in all, it was good. Despite obviously what I said, like the bit of the lull, and I wasn't enjoying it so much the second day. But it picked up, and some of it was me as well, like feeling a bit anxious. But it picked up, and yeah, I still had a great time. I'd recommend it if you'd like Twin Peaks, or even if you're a fan of David Lynch, you should go along just because there's a lot of stuff to do. Then there's a lot of really cool stuff.
I would say especially if you're in this country, because people have travelled thousands of miles to come here, and like it's on your doorstep. Yeah. So,
and Twingo is like it's so much fun, but it's just so simple. But again, I think that's why people like it, because it's right at the end. It's a nice, simple, and it's fun. And everyone's having a laugh and a joke. Like I was talking to, I sat next to this woman who was dressed up as Diane, and it was one of those things like you're laughing and joking, and everyone's really relaxed at that point.
Yeah.
And my anxiety had left by that point as well, because I had a few drinks. And I had like 2 beers, and then I had an ale when I was watching Fire Walk with Me. But yeah, so I was feeling a bit relaxed. You just like laughing and joking, and you're like looking at each other's like cards to see like how many you need to get Twingo, and and it was a lot of fun. So I can't recommend it enough.
I'm looking forward to
definitely
it.
Go
Twingo.
Definitely go to both days, because Twingo is so much fun. And it gets proper competitive as well, like real competitive. Because people run. Like,
I'm super competitive Twingo when it comes to games. So yeah,
like people run up screaming Twingo because they want them prizes, yo.
Cool.
But yeah, so all in all, it was good. I had a lot of fun, and yeah, it's just be interesting to see who they get next year. I mean, that's the thing, because of the new series. There's like so much more people
there
they can
is,
get now.
yeah.
I mean, part of me is really holding out hope that they get Robert Nepper, because that'd be really cool.
Robert Nepper. Well, both of the Mitchums would be great.
Oh, God, that'd be fantastic. Cause
that would make my day to have a picture with the Mitchums.
Oh, that really would, because I really liked Robert Nepper all the way back. He was one of the few things I liked in the final series of Heroes, when that was still a thing. I hadn't watched Heroes Reborn because I heard it was just lukewarm, but people were like, it was alright. But yeah, in the final series of Heroes, like Robert Nepper's character, he was like one of the few. He was like the only thing I really enjoyed. It was great, and I saw him a few other things, and then I was excited when he was in this, and I love the Mitchums. So like something like Robert Nepper, something like that'd be really cool. So yeah, that's the thing. Like that, it doesn't just have to be the old cast anymore.
Yeah,
there's loads more people they can get.
On a tangent, we both really need to like watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because
not the thing.
I pretty sure. Let me have a look. Notable guests. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that Carl McLachlan is in season 2 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Ooh.
But there's also someone else recently who just kind of like I came across. It's Edward James Olmos. That's why. I've been watching Battlestar Galactica and going fucking mental over it. And Edward James Olmos is in the same season as Carl McLachlan of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So I have to watch that.
Does Edward James Olmos leave little origami figures?
No.
I'm making a Blade Runner reference. Too bad she won't live. It doesn't sound like that was like I don't know what voice that was, but he kind of says it strange because he's like shouting through the rain. Then again, who does? Yeah, so basically I'm seeing Blade Runner in 2049 in 2 days, and I'm a little bit excited.
Oh, yes. Yeah, we're going to watch the first one and pick it up at the cinema at some point.
Don't watch the theatrical cut of Blade Runner. Never watch the theatrical cut of Blade Runner. Watch either the director's cut or the final cut. They're the 2 good ones. Because the theatrical one's terrible.
I've seen it at some point. Oh my god! Yeah, so
that's the one. That's the one with the forced, like film noir narration that Harrison Ford was so against he phoned it in on purpose because he didn't think they'd use it. I've seen him interviewed. He's like, "Yeah, I did it because I didn't think they'd use it because he sounds really bored because he just thought it was a terrible idea."
I had no idea Edward James Olmos is in Blade Runner. So now,
yeah, he's Gaff.
Yes.
Gaff.
So now we will
Gaff.
put that higher up the list of stuff to watch.
Yeah, Gaff. I love the name Gaff. It's great. It's nice
almost as great as Edward James Olmos. So he's amazing.
He's good. He's very good.
Yeah, and BSG is good for anyone who's interested. But we need to wrap this shit up. So
because I'm gonna die.
Yeah,
I need to go and finish Persona 5 because I'm right near the end.
TL didn't listen. The festival was great. First timer enjoyed it, and seasoned professional who's attended many also enjoyed it. We're looking forward to next year, and that's before we even know who's been announced. So it's just going to be a nice surprise when that gets revealed next year.
Yeah, and if you're if you listen to this and you're going to the festival, come and find us.
Yes, please.
And you can have your photo taken with us for 30 quid.
Harvest, yeah.
You can give us a Rolo.
A single photo for 30 quid. Both of us in a photo for 40. Give them a
or if
discount.
Or handshake. If you want a handshake, you give us a Rolo. I don't know why Rolos are just. That was the first thing that popped in my head. I haven't had a Rolo in ages.
Neither have I. I know they still exist, but oh my god.
They do.
No, we are not going down this road. We need to end this shit. Okay.
Give me Rolos.
Yeah.
Send us Rolos.
Yeah, send us Rolos so we can remember what the fuck they taste like because it's been that long.
Yeah.
And until next time, thank you for listening. We will probably be doing another one of these sidecasts once the final dossier has been released and we've kind of had a chance to read it and maybe take in some of it.
Yeah.
We'll probably do an episode at that point. So.
Fuck it. Yeah.
Excellent. So this has been the Spoilers of the Damned sidecast for Twin Peaks UK Festival, and thanks for listening. Make sure to like us, subscribe, and do all the things on the thing, and we'll see you next time.
Things. Yeah.
If you like Spoilers of the Damned, don't forget to subscribe and rate us on iTunes.
Team Wolfcat production.